Chapter 1279. Chapter 1279. Chapter 1279 Altars, damn it! Supreme Bone's face turned ugly when he saw that his attack was blocked by Janba and was directed at him instead. Cursing inwardly, Supreme Bone flicked his wrist again, and a cold light flew out. However, the power of this cold light was clearly not as strong as the previous cold light. When the two beams of cold light came into contact, Supreme Bone's attack instantly turned into nothingness. Helplessly, Supreme Bone could only bite the bullet and face the cold light. Bang! With a crisp sound, one of Supreme Bone's ribs was broken. Poochie! Supreme Bone's heart sank to the bottom as he spat out dark red blood. Initially, he had the upper hand in his battle with the Red Demon's word. However, now that he was severely injured, his strength had dropped by 10%. He had switched from attacking to defending. "Are you okay?" In mid-air, the sapling was controlling the Red Demon's sword and exchanging blows with Supreme Bone. As for Ningyu, he quickly flew to Janba's side and helped him up. At this moment, Janba's aura was so weak that he couldn't even stand properly. In order to throw the cold light at Supreme Bone, Janba used all his strength and did not hold back. The cold ray was Supreme Bone's killer move. It was already very impressive that Janba could withstand it. Naturally, he had to pay a price to throw it away. "It's nothing serious." Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, Janba laughed. "It's been a long time since I've had such a great battle." Ning Yu's face darkened. He was about to be killed, yet he could still say such words. He was indeed optimistic. "By the way, can that red flying sword defeat Supreme Bone?" Reality proved that Janba was not so optimistic. He looked at the battlefield in midair and said hesitantly, "If that red flying sword can't defeat Supreme Bone, we'd better find a way to leave as soon as possible." "You have a way to leave?" Hearing Janba's words, Ning Yu was slightly startled as he asked. "We still have to give it a try." Janba said, "I know of a secret passage. We can smoothly leave the Myriad Bone Cave from there." "This won't do. Before we leave, we must rescue the cultivator in the cage." Ning Yu shook his head and said, "There's no way to save him. Unless that red flying sword defeats Supreme Bone and controls him, there's no way to open that cage." Janba said that cage was personally set up by Supreme Bone. The key is his doppelganger. "You also know that the key is Supreme Bone's avatar?" Ning Yu was a little surprised. He did not expect Supreme Bone to know this secret. "Don't just stand there. Hurry up and think of a way to leave. If we delay any longer, it will be too late," Janba said anxiously. "Leave? No one will be able to escape today." Just then, the Supreme Bone, who was in midair, forced the Red Demon's sword to retreat. Then his right hand grew several times larger and suddenly grabbed the altar. Kacha! Exerting strength in his palm, Supreme Bone squeezed the altar until it made a cracking sound. "Ah, the chains of order are reinforcing it." "Stop! Supreme Bone, stop! We don't want to be enemies with you." Uft! Just as Supreme Bone exerted strength in his palm, several low-level Supreme Martial Artists were squeezed by the chains and their bodies exploded. As for the souls of these Supreme Martial Artists, they flew toward Supreme Bone and were swallowed by his mouth. "Not bad, not bad. You guys are delicious." After swallowing the souls of these low-level Supreme Martial Artists, Supreme Bone nodded and said, "I'll give you one more chance. Capture Ningyu and Janba, or I'll swallow all of you." Whoosh! Supreme Bone's words had a very intimidating effect. The remaining cultivators in the cage looked gloomy. They wanted to attack, but were afraid of Ningyu and Janba's strength. Just as everyone was hesitating, Supreme Bone exerted strength in his wrist again. 10 7th-grade Supreme Martial Artists were killed by the chains, turned into souls, and entered Supreme Bone's mouth. "You only have one chance. Don't blame me if you don't grasp it. Supreme Bone looked around and finally landed on Ningyu and Janba. Raising his brows, Supreme Bone said, I advise you to surrender as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'll let you know why flowers are red. That red flying sword of yours is so powerful that it could force Supreme Bone to this extent. Janba ignored Supreme Bone's threat and said to Ningyu, Supreme Bone knows that if the battle continues, the altar will definitely be destroyed by your red flying sword. Therefore, he wants everyone to capture you to threaten that red flying sword. Swoosh! At this moment, the red demon sword flew to the top of Ningyu's head and hovered. Sapling, you're not a match for Supreme Bone? Ningyu secretly communicated with the sapling and asked in confusion. There's something unusual in that altar that makes my heart tremble, said the sapling. Even your heart trembles. Ningyu was shocked. This sapling was the sapling of the World Tree. How terrifying would it be if it could even make him tremble? What I mean is, with my current strength, I can only contend against that thing, said the sapling. After a brief pause, it continued. Even Supreme Bone doesn't know what's in the altar. You want to obtain the thing in the altar? Ningyu quickly understood what the sapling meant. I can feel that once I devour the thing in the altar, my strength will greatly increase. I can even face an Earth Supreme Martial Artist without fear. The sapling nodded. We can't destroy the altar. We must seize it. Crack! At this moment, seeing that no one was making a move, Supreme Bone exerted more force. Uft! Another few martial artists were killed, and their souls fell into Supreme Bone's mouth. As more and more souls were devoured by Supreme Bone underwent a shocking change. Swish! Swish! Supreme Bone, who was originally a single person, split into two and turned into two Supreme Bones. The sudden change made Ningyu's mouth slightly open. He was a little dumbfounded. But soon, Ningyu discovered some clues. One of the bodies was Supreme Spirit Bone, while the other was Supreme Soul Bone. Supreme Spirit Bone had the battle strength of a peak 9th grade human supreme martial artist, while Supreme Soul Bone only had the battle strength of an 8th grade human supreme martial artist. Ha ha ha! Supreme Bone threw his head back and laughed after transforming into a doppelganger. Serial doppelganger, I've finally cultivated this technique to the extreme. Supreme Bone was very excited. He had cultivated the serial doppelganger technique, which meant that he could split his doppelganger again and again. As long as he had enough yuan qi or souls, he could continuously create doppelgangers. The battle strength of the doppelganger would increase along with the strength of the parent body. Sapling, how can I snatch the altar from you? Ningyu knew that he couldn't delay any longer, otherwise the consequences would be unimaginable. You fight with Supreme Bone. The sapling's words were as shocking as they could get. What? Ningyu was shocked. He was only a peak 5th grade human supreme martial artist, while Supreme Bone was a peak 9th grade human supreme martial artist. With his current battle strength, he could at most contend with a peak 9th grade human supreme martial artist. There was no possibility of him winning against a peak 9th grade human supreme martial artist. I'm not asking you to really fight Supreme Bone, but to feign an attack. Your main target is the altar. The sapling said, Supreme Bone definitely won't use his full strength when fighting you, because he has to divide his attention to guard against me. When I suddenly attack, Supreme Bone will definitely be distracted. You take advantage of that time to seize the altar and store it in your storage ring. Chapter 1280. The Demon Slayer Swoosh. The sapling did not drag his feet. He controlled the red demon sword and brought it to Ningyu's hand. A small branch then sprang out from the red demon's sword and quietly entered Ningyu's sleeve to lie dormant. Supreme Bone, do you dare to fight me? Worried that Supreme Bone would notice something, Ningyu stepped forward with the red demon's sword in his hand and said coldly, Humph. Let's fight, but you have to throw away the red, flying sword in your hand. Supreme Bone's expression was gloomy as he finally said in a low voice. Supreme Bone feared the red, flying sword from the bottom of his heart. Especially now that Supreme Bone had mastered the serial doppelganger skill, he was most worried that these two doppelgangers would be hurt. As long as he was given time, he could cultivate the serial doppelganger skill to the extreme and create countless doppelgangers. You want me to throw away the red flying sword? Ning Yu looked hesitant. After a while, Ning Yu said in a clear voice, "It's not impossible for me to throw away the red flying sword, but you can't activate the altar and use it against me." Deal. Supreme Bone agreed to Ning Yu's terms without hesitation. From Supreme Bone's point of view, the altar only had a restraining effect on the warriors in the cage. It did not have any real effect on Ning Yu. Ning Yu did not use the red flying sword, and he did not use the altar. This deal was worth it. Sapling, you can't let me down this time. Taking a deep breath, Ning Yu stomped his feet on the ground, and his body rushed out in an instant. Come at me. Seeing that Ning Yu was rushing towards him, Supreme Bone shouted and punched out with his right fist. Universal Palm. Since he had decided to fight with Supreme Bone, Ning Yu would not back down. His hands formed a series of signs, and in a split second, several palm prints were formed. Crash! An earth-shattering palm print separated from Ning Yu's palm and surrounded Supreme Bone inside. Break! Standing tall in the encirclement of the palm prints, Supreme Bone was fearless as he dashed left and right, waving his fists back and forth. Not only did Supreme Bone attack, but even his doppelgangers kept attacking. Kacha! 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 The two venerable bones threw out hundreds of punches in an instant, and all of these punches landed on the palm of heaven and earth. Without a doubt, the hundreds of palm prints Ning Yu had unleashed were quickly dispersed. Ning Yu, you will die today. After dispersing the palm print, Supreme Bone's right hand suddenly enlarged and grabbed at Ning Yu. You want to catch me? It won't be that easy. Ning Yu retreated quickly and kept dodging, trying to avoid Supreme Bone's palm. However, Supreme Bone's palm grew larger and larger until it finally slammed down heavily on Ning Yu. I'll flash. Ning Yu unleashed his body movement technique to the extreme, constantly shifting his body from left to right and barely evading Supreme Bone's claw. Do you think you can dodge it? The corner of Supreme Bone's mouth curled up slightly. He then stretched out his left hand and grabbed at Ning Yu from another direction, attacking from both sides at the same time, multiplying the pressure on Ning Yu. Smack! Finally, Ning Yu could not dodge in time and was hit by Supreme Bone's palm, flying backward. Swoosh! Zhanba reacted quickly and caught Ning Yu firmly. Humph! Can't even withstand a single blow. Supreme Bone glanced at Ning Yu disdainfully and then said to the martial artist in the cage, "You have one last chance. Kill Ning Yu and I will let you go. I, Supreme Bone, am a man of my word. This is your last chance. If you miss this opportunity, you won't get another one." Whoosh! Seeing that Ning Yu was seriously injured, the martial artists in the cage were ready to make a move. Perhaps this was the best chance to kill Ning Yu. Boom! Putting down Ning Yu, Zhanba heavily stomped his right foot on the ground and a terrifying aura soared into the sky. He coldly said, "Whoever dares to make Ning Yu your enemy will be making me your enemy. You will have to get through me first." Cough, cough. Let me try. Suddenly, a cough resounded from a cage in the depths of the chamber. Hearing that cough, everyone's heart trembled and they couldn't help shifting their gazes over with fear on their faces. It's Venerable Slaughter. Venerable Slaughter is a pinnacle 9th grade sovereign. I wonder if Supreme Bone will let him out. I don't think so. After all, Venerable Slaughter is powerful. If he betrays us like Zhanba, it will be hard for Supreme Bone to subdue him. Everyone discussed with fear on their faces. It's been years since I've been active. I can't miss this opportunity. Not long after Venerable Slayer finished speaking, a soft voice was heard from the cage next to him. Venerable Slaughter. Venerable Slaughter is also a pinnacle 9th grade sovereign. He and Venerable Slaughter are a pair of killing stars. That's right. Legend has it that the two of them were tyrannical in the Thousand Leaves Empire and killed countless people. In the end, they accidentally offended the Myriad Bone Cave's Danchi, which was the reason why they were suppressed. One Venerable Slaughter had already shocked everyone. Now that there was another Venerable Slaughter, it made everyone even more terrified. Supreme Bone did not reply immediately. He slightly knitted his brows and fell into deep thoughts. Truth be told, Supreme Bone was a little worried. After all, he was at a disadvantage and Venerable Slaughter and the rest were enemies. Under this premise, there was a high chance that Venerable Slaughter and the rest would betray them. If two pinnacle 9th grade sovereigns betrayed them, the consequences would be unimaginable. I can let one of you go, but the other must stay inside. Supreme Bone thought of a method that could satisfy both sides. Venerable Slaughter and Venerable Slaughter had a good relationship. As long as he took one of them as a hostage, he believed that the other wouldn't dare to act recklessly. You, Venerable Slaughter, come out. Supreme Bone slapped the altar and the chains on Venerable Slaughter broke. Ah! With the chains broken, Venerable Slaughter punched the door of the cage in front of him, shattering the cage. After leaving the cage, Venerable Slaughter was like a dragon flying out of the sea or an eagle soaring into the sky. His pair of turbid eyes became bright and spirited. Crack! Twisting his neck, Venerable Slaughter walked toward Ning Yu step by step. The demon slayer Venerable's speed was neither too fast nor too slow. A minute later, the demon slayer Venerable stopped a few meters away from Ning Yu. Kill yourself, Venerable Slaughter said indifferently. Fearing the red demon sword floating above Ning Yu's head, Venerable Slaughter did not dare to act rashly for the time being. What a joke! If I kill myself just because you want me to, wouldn't it be embarrassing for me? Ning Yu knew what Venerable Slaughter was afraid of. Fearless, he said, I have no grudges against you. Why don't we join forces to kill Supreme Bone and rescue your brother? That's a good idea. Venerable Slaughter nodded slightly and said, Venerable Slaughter, don't make a mistake. Supreme Bone scolded. Haha, how could I make a mistake? I was just teasing him. Venerable Slaughter smiled and said, Supreme Bone, let my brother go and we'll help you kill Ning Yu. Venerable Slaughter was demanding an exorbitant price. He wanted Supreme Bone to let Venerable Slaughter go as well. Let Venerable Slaughter go? Do you think I'm a 3-year-old? Supreme Bone curled his lips and said, I'll give you 3 minutes to kill Ning Yu. Otherwise, your brother, Venerable Slaughter, will become my food. As he spoke, Supreme Bone slapped the altar again. Crack! Chapter 1281. Chapter 1281. Chapter 1281 Leave. Supreme Bone, I'll give you one last chance. Let go of Venerable Slayer, or I will join forces with Ning Yu to deal with you. Venerable Slayer suddenly regained his composure and said calmly, What, you're giving me one last chance? Have you lost your mind? Supreme Bone's expression was exaggerated when he heard Venerable Slayer's words. He said coldly, If you dare to act rashly, Venerable Slayer will definitely die. Although Supreme Bone said so, he did not continue to torture Venerable Slayer. The current situation was very clear. Venerable Bone, Venerable Demon Slayer, and Ning Yu were the strongest experts in the Myriad Bone Cave. The 3 parties restrained each other, and no one dared to act rashly. This balance was delicate. Once it was broken, the entire secret chamber would fall into a war. Who would live and who would die would be unknown. Ning Yu, hurry up and take back the altar before it's too late. The sapling's voice rang in Ning Yu's ears. Ning Yu was slightly startled when he heard this. He then said, How do you want me to take back the altar now? I have the lowest cultivation and the weakest strength here. I'll only be courting death if I go there. Ning, you did not want to be the one to break the balance. Whoever broke the balance among the three parties first would most likely be besieged by the other two parties, not to mention being besieged by two forces. Even if one of them attacked Ning Yu wouldn't be able to resist. Ning Yu's trump card was the sapling. If the sapling did not make a move, he would be in danger. Fight! Obviously, the sapling knew the seriousness of the problem. He pondered for a moment, then gritted his teeth and said, I'll stir up trouble. You take advantage of the chaos to take back the altar. You want to stir up trouble? Ning Yu was a little puzzled. The altar was firmly held by Supreme Bone. How could the sapling stir up trouble and create chaos? Swoosh! At this moment, the sapling controlled the red demon's sword and suddenly dashed out. The red demon's sword did not attack Supreme Bone, but charged at Venerable Slayer. F***CK. Ning, you could not help but swear. Was the sapling not supposed to attack Supreme Bone? What was the use of him fighting with Demon Slayer Venerable? Venerable Bone would only watch from the sidelines. Courting death. The Demon Slayer Venerable snorted coldly when he saw a flying sword flying towards him. He clenched his right hand into a fist and punched out. What? The Demon Slayer Venerable wants to use his fist to resist that blood-red flying sword? That flying sword was evenly matched with Supreme Bone. Isn't the Demon Slayer Venerable afraid of losing his fist by doing this? It's hard to say. Legend has it that the Demon Slayer Venerable cultivated a spell that made his fists extremely hard. So hard that even an Earth Sovereign couldn't do anything about it. Oh my God! Before the last cultivator could finish a sentence, his eyes widened and his face filled with disbelief. Kacha! Ah! In midair, the red demon's sword unleashed its might and chopped down the Demon Slayer Venerable's fist. A crisp voice echoed in the chamber along with the cries of the Demon Slayer Martial Lord. In an instant, everyone quietened down. How is this possible? The Demon Slayer Venerable looked down at his fist that was chopped off and roared. I've cultivated the Vajra secret technique to the extreme. How could you chop off my fist? Swoosh! The sapling ignored the Demon Slayer Venerable and charged out with the red demon's sword again. Relatively speaking, the red demon's sword was much faster this time. Kacha! Another crisp voice rang out. This time, everyone could no longer remain calm. The fact that the red Demon Slayer Martial Lord's fist was enough to prove how extraordinary the flying sword was. Ah, you dared to chop off my palm. No one has ever dared to do this to me. Today Uft! The Demon Slayer Martial Lord let out a hysterical roar. However, the roar left as quickly as it came. The red demon's sword moved for the third time. The sapling had chopped off one of the Demon Slayer Martial Lord's palm the first 2 times. The sapling did not hold back for the third time. He squeezed out a drop of liquid from his body and smeared it on the red demon's sword. Buzz! The red demon sword vibrated slightly before it landed on the Demon Slayer Martial Lord's neck under everyone's shocked gazes. Boom! At that moment, the entire area fell silent. The silence was abnormally frightening, and the oppressive atmosphere was suffocating. Gulp! Apart from the people in the cage, even Supreme Bone swallowed a mouthful of saliva. The power of that flying sword is so strong. Supreme Bone finally felt a little fear deep in his heart. In Supreme Bone's opinion, his strength was only slightly stronger than the Demon Slayer Martial Lord. If the Red Demon Slayer Martial Lord could be easily killed by the Red Demon Slayer, it would definitely be able to kill him. I have to find a way to leave as soon as possible. Supreme Bone's expression was gloomy as he thought about how to leave. Ningyu, what are you waiting for? Hurry up. In an instant, Ningyu felt a sharp pain in his eardrums. Do it. Ningyu was not a hothead. He reacted quickly. Here was his chance. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Supreme Bone was slightly distracted by the sapling's powerful strength. It was the best time to strike now. Law of Space. Ningyu secretly communicated with the Law of Space, and his body quietly blended into the void. As Supreme Bone was thinking about how to leave and Ningyu had concealed himself with the Law of Space, Supreme Bone did not notice that Ningyu had disappeared. Universal Palm. In order to get close to Supreme Bone as soon as possible, Ningyu did not hesitate to burn his blood essence to increase his speed. In an instant, Ningyu suddenly tore the void apart and appeared in front of Supreme Bone. His right hand turned into a palm and slammed toward Supreme Bone's cheek. Chi-chi. The power of Ningyu's palm was so strong that even the void was blasted apart. Oh no! Supreme Bone was indeed Supreme Bone. His reaction was very fast. As soon as Ningyu's palm blasted out, Supreme Bone reacted and immediately threw the altar to the other side. He clenched his right hand into a fist and slammed it toward Ningyu's palm. Bang! As the fist and palm collided, Supreme Bone instantly realized the problem. Supreme Bone, lend me the altar! Ningyu suddenly turned around and rushed toward the altar. Without stopping by the side of the altar, Ningyu immediately kept the altar into his storage ring with a thought. After keeping the altar, Ningyu knew that Supreme Bone would be furious. Therefore, he did not stay where he was and rushed toward the red demon's sword in a flash. Zhanba, come with me. As he passed by Zhanba, Ningyu did not stop but left a message. After all, Zhanba had helped him before. It was only right and proper for him to save Zhanba's life. Swoosh! Zhanba was very smart. He knew that if he stayed any longer, he would definitely be killed by Supreme Bone. Therefore, he followed closely behind Ningyu and rushed out quickly. Enter the secret chamber in front. As he passed by the red demon's sword, Ningyu grabbed it. At the same time, the sapling's voice rang in Ningyu's ears. Ningyu did not dare to stay any longer. He rushed toward the deepest secret chamber, according to the sapling's instructions. Although he did not know what was in the secret chamber, Ningyu chose to believe in the sapling. How dare you steal my altar? Chapter 1282. Chapter 1282. Chapter 1282. Stall for time. There's definitely something fishy going on. After a few roars, Supreme Bone completely calmed down. Such calmness was a little scary. Puff! Supreme Bone forced out a drop of blood essence and used it to set up a small voice transmission formation. Supreme Bone spoke a few words into the voice transmission formation and then quietly waited for the other party's reply. For Supreme Bone, waiting was torture. He paced back and forth in the secret room, looking very impatient and restless. Kacha! In order to alleviate this uneasiness, Supreme Bone killed several warriors in the cages and devoured their souls. After devouring the souls of these warriors, Supreme Bone's avatar was strengthened again. Take back the altar or die. Suddenly, a reply came from the other end of the sound transmission formation. The 7 short words had a special magical power that made Supreme Bone tremble all over. Supreme Bone knew very well that the other party was not joking. If he couldn't take back the altar, the other party would probably destroy this clone of his, and even his main body would be implicated. Ka-ka! Supreme Bone clenched his fists, making cracking sounds. Things started because of him, so he had no choice but to get back at them. I'll start with you guys. Taking a deep breath, Supreme Bone walked toward the nearest cage. Pucci! Supreme Bone clenched his right hand into a fist and punched the martial artist, causing him to explode. Soul force gushed out from this martial artist's body, wanting to escape from this region. With Supreme Bone around, how could he possibly escape? Supreme Bone opened his mouth wide and swallowed the martial artist's soul. I can kill all of these people and increase the strength of my soul avatar. Supreme Bone, felt that it might not be too much of a loss today. That was because there was a high chance that he could raise his avatar's strength to the pinnacle 9th grade sovereign realm. Of course, everything was built on the premise that he could recapture the altar. If he couldn't take back the altar, everything he was doing now would be for naught. Take back the altar as soon as possible. A cold voice came from the sound transmission formation again. Upon hearing this figure, Supreme Bone shuddered. He had forgotten that the sound transmission formation was still open. On the other side of the sound transmission formation, there was an extremely powerful pill puppet. Supreme Bone could clearly sense the anger in the other party's tone. If he could not take back the altar, he would most likely implicate the 10,000 Bone Cave. Die, all of you! Supreme Bone could not care less. He had seen the Red Fiend in action and knew the Red Fiend's strength. If he wanted to fight against the Red Demon Sword, he had to raise his soul avatar's strength to the peak of the 9th grade sovereign realm. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to fight against the Red Demon Sword, even if he fought his way into the deepest secret chamber. Poo-pee-you-pee-you. Outside the secret chamber, Supreme Bone killed the martial artists in the cages one by one and devoured their souls. Inside the secret chamber, Ningyu saw a familiar face. Dark Emperor. Ha ha ha, Ningyu, I knew you would come to save me. You really didn't disappoint me. When he saw Ningyu enter the secret room, the Dark Emperor was first stunned, and then he said, "Save me quickly. I've been trapped here for a long time." Kacha! Kacha! Ningyu stomped on the ground and leaped, cutting off the chains on the Dark Emperor's body. Tell me quickly, did you rob the 10,000 Bone Cave clean? This is the deepest part of the 10,000 Bone Cave. Since you could come here, you must have gotten rid of the elixir puppets in the 10,000 Bone Cave. Give me something good. I want to recover to my peak as soon as possible. After breaking free, the Dark Emperor said hurriedly. Ningyu was speechless. The Dark Emperor was still the Dark Emperor. He had not changed much. I'm going into seclusion to refine the things in the altar in the storage ring. You guys protect me. No matter what, don't let Supreme Bone break in. Ningyu opened his mouth and was about to say something, but the sapling's words rang in his ears. Seclusion. Ningyu frowned slightly and said, How long will it take? Also, how powerful will your combat strength be after refining the things in the altar? At least half an hour, at most a month. The sapling said. Ningyu's face darkened, and he was speechless for a long time. If you need a month to recover, then what difference is there between us staying here and seeking death? Sapling, in my opinion, we should leave the 10,000 Bone Cave as soon as possible. It's not safe here. Ningyu began to communicate with the sapling and said, With our strength, there is no way we can resist Supreme Bone. As he spoke, Ningyu stopped. Ningyu immediately cursed, because Ningyu realized that the sapling had stuck its entire body to the altar and was starting to refine it. What's wrong? Seeing Ningyu's appearance, the Dark Emperor was confused. The Dark Emperor still did not know that the sapling had developed intelligence. He thought that Ningyu had lost his mind. Nothing. I'm worried about Supreme Bone. He's still outside. In front of Zhanba, Ningyu did not want to mention the sapling, so he said so. What are you afraid of? With me here, I don't think that Supreme Bone would dare to come here. The Dark Emperor said proudly, You dog, you sure are optimistic. Supreme Bone is a peak 9th grade human supreme. You want to go against him? Go home and cultivate for a few more years. As the Dark Emperor was in a miserable state, and his aura was even weak, Zhanba did not recognize his true identity. What? A peak 9th grade human supreme. The Dark Emperor was shocked. If it was in the past, the Dark Emperor would definitely refute if someone spoke to him like this. But now that there was a peak 9th grade human supreme outside, the Dark Emperor had to clarify. Of course, it's a peak 9th grade human supreme. Glancing at the Dark Emperor, Jean Ba said to Ningyu, "This secret chamber is not safe. I think Supreme Bone will be here soon. We need to come up with a countermeasure." "What countermeasure?" You wanted to hear Jean Ba's opinion. "Protect me. I'm going to execute a secret technique. Once it succeeds, I will have the combat strength of a peak 9th grade human supreme," Jean Ba said. Without waiting for Ningyu's reply, Jean Ba found a place to sit cross-legged and started executing the secret technique. Ningyu was completely speechless. It was one thing for the sapling to go into seclusion, but Jean Ba, an 8th grade human supreme, also wanted to go into seclusion. It was too unkind of them to push all the problems to him. "Ningyu, what are we waiting for here? Let's get out of here." The Dark Emperor said, "Even if you and I join hands, we might not be able to withstand a full blow from a peak 9th grade human supreme. What are we staying here for? Are we courting death?" In the Dark Emperor's heart, a peak 9th grade human supreme was not invincible, but they couldn't defeat it at their current state. Unless he and Ningyu advanced to the 6th grade human supreme, they would definitely die if they stayed here. "Sigh, it's too late." With a soft sigh, Ningyu said, "Supreme Bone has already raised his soul doppelganger to the peak 9th grade human supreme. Moreover, it will be very difficult for us to leave the secret chamber. Now that things have come to this, we can only fight." Ningyu flicked his sleeves and summoned the corpse puppet from his storage ring. Chapter 1283. Crippling 1. The corpse puppet was a late-phase 9th grade sovereign, and at the same time it was Ningyu's trump card. Ningyu knew that he would definitely encounter danger in the Myriad Bone Cave, and might even encounter an Earth sovereign. Originally, when he saw the Venerable Bone, Ningyu's first reaction was to bring out the corpse puppet, but he forcefully endured it. Because Ningyu firmly believed that there was an Earth sovereign in the Myriad Bone Cave, his trump card, the corpse puppet, could only be used after meeting an Earth sovereign. However, the current situation did not allow Ningyu to think too much. He could only bring out the corpse puppet and hope that it could resist the Venerable Bone. "Dark Emperor, retreat first. Leave this to me." After bringing out the corpse puppet, Ningyu said in a solemn voice, "If necessary, enter the storage ring." Boom! Before Ningyu finished his words, the stone door of the secret chamber was heavily bombarded, emitting a crisp sound. Venerable Bone. Ningyu's face turned completely dark. When he entered the secret chamber, the sapling had laid out a small-scale array. Back then, the sapling had mentioned that he could use a small-scale array to obstruct the Venerable Bone for a few minutes. However, judging from the frequency of the stone door shaking, it would take at most a minute for the stone door to be blasted open. "Ningyu, you can't escape. You'd better surrender. Otherwise, I'll refine you into a puppet, and you won't be able to reincarnate for eternity." Outside the secret chamber, the Venerable Bone and his doppelganger constantly bombarded the stone door. Every time they did so, the stone door would violently shake. "Venerable Bone, I want to negotiate with you." Ningyu knew that his main objective was to stall for time and not to fight with the Venerable Bone. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu said in a clear voice, "It's not impossible if you want the altar. Let's sit down and have a good talk. I might even return the altar to you." "TSK, TSK, no matter what you say, I'll kill you today." An eerie voice resounded from the Venerable Bone's mouth. "Unless you come out now, you won't be able to escape the fate of being refined into a puppet." "All right." Inside the secret chamber, Ningyu gritted his teeth and said, "Take a few steps back. I will open the secret chamber." To be honest, Supreme Bone was a little confused when he heard Ningyu's words. Had Ningyu lost his mind? He actually wanted to take the initiative to open the secret chamber. "I must be extremely careful." After some thought, Supreme Bone felt that Ningyu must have a backup plan. He took 2 steps back and said, "Come out." Creak. The heavy stone door was slowly pushed open from the inside. Ning Yu slowly walked out, the red demon's sword in his hand. Ning Yu walked very slowly. It took him 1 minute to walk the distance of 10 steps. Another minute. Ning Yu was secretly delighted, but he did not show it. If Supreme Bone knew what Ning Yu was thinking, it was unknown how he would feel. Throw away the flying sword in your hand. Supreme Bone's expression was gloomy and uncertain. Finally, he pointed at the red demon's sword and said, "Then open your mind and let me control you." Ding! Ning Yu, tactfully, threw the red demon's sword aside. At the same time, he raised his hands above his head and said, "Supreme Bone, I have already opened my mind. You can come over and control me now." What the hell is he doing? The calmer Ning Yu appeared, the more careful Supreme Bone was. Having been fooled once, Supreme Bone did not want to be fooled a second time. "Soul Doppelganger, go over and control him," Supreme Bone said after a moment of silence. Swoosh! The Soul Doppelganger also possessed the combat power of a 9th grade peak human supreme martial artist. Its figure flashed and flew out quickly. Oh no! The reason why Ning Yu appeared calm was entirely to buy time. Now that Supreme Bone had sent his Soul Doppelganger to test Ning Yu naturally would not stand there foolishly. Hurriedly grabbing the red demon's sword on the ground, Ning Yu rushed toward the secret chamber. Ning Yu was very fast. In order to enter the secret chamber before the Soul Doppelganger, Ning Yu did not hesitate to burn his life to increase his speed. Swoosh! In an instant, Ning Yu turned into a shadow and disappeared from Supreme Bone's sight. After Ning Yu disappeared, the Soul Doppelganger stopped at the same spot, its head only half a foot away from the stone door. This is my chance. Opposite the stone door, Ning Yu felt that his chance had come. He first broke the array, set up by the sapling, and then kicked the corpse puppet out. Oh no! Retreat quickly. Supreme Bone should have been very excited after the stone door opened. However, when he saw a figure flying toward his Soul Doppelganger, his expression changed drastically, and he said hurriedly, "Set up the array." Inside the secret chamber, Ning Yu waved his hands repeatedly and set up several arrays at the door in an instant, firmly surrounding the secret chamber. Rumble! At this moment, Ning Yu mobilized the soul force in the consciousness of the corpse puppet, controlling the corpse puppet's body to expand rapidly and finally explode with a loud bang. The corpse puppet was a 9th grade peak human supreme martial artist, and its self-destruction was extremely powerful. Supreme Bone's Soul Doppelganger was the closest to the corpse puppet, so it suffered the greatest impact and was the most terrifying. Uft! Almost in an instant, Supreme Bone's Soul Doppelganger was blasted into pieces. As for Supreme Bone himself, he was also blasted back several feet and slammed heavily against the wall of the secret chamber. The self-destruction of a 9th grade peak human supreme martial artist was extremely terrifying. Fortunately, Ning Yu controlled the aftermath of the corpse puppet's self-destruction. Otherwise, the entire secret chamber might have been destroyed. What a pity. If I had a way to leave, I would definitely give Supreme Bone a big one. Ning Yu felt a little regretful. He dared not let the corpse puppet self-destruct. After all, he was also in the secret chamber. Although there was a wall and some small arrays blocking the way, the power of a 9th grade peak human supreme martial artist self-destruction was no joke. It was enough for Ning Yu to be able to destroy Supreme Bone's Soul Doppelganger. After all, Ning Yu did not want to perish together with Supreme Bone. Arg! I'm so angry! Outside the secret chamber, Supreme Bone was so angry that his nose was crooked. It was not easy for him to raise the strength of his Soul Doppelganger to the 9th grade peak human supreme martial artist. Unexpectedly, it was destroyed by Ning Yu's little trick. The chain doppelganger technique was different from other doppelganger techniques. Once the second doppelganger was destroyed, it would be very difficult to recover. Therefore, Supreme Bone was exceptionally enraged at this moment. His rage had reached its peak. Ningyu, you're finished. No one in this world can save you. Supreme Bone could not care less. He stepped on the ground and came to the stone door in an instant. Bang! 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 Clenching his right hand into a fist, Supreme Bone constantly bombarded the stone door. Following Supreme Bone's bombardment, the stone door shook more and more violently. After dozens of punches, the stone door was completely blasted open by Supreme Bone. Ningyu, give me your life. After blasting open the stone door, Supreme Bone took a step out and said fiercely, You destroyed my soul, doppelganger. I'll let you have a taste. Why are you talking so much nonsense? I'll let you have a taste of this first. Ningyu interrupted Supreme Bone's words. With a flick of his sleeves, a cold light swept out in a split second. Chi! The speed of this cold light was so fast that it rubbed against the air and made a chi-chi sound. Humph! Since you're not using that flying sword, it means that there's something wrong with it now. Chapter 1284. Chapter 1284. Chapter 1284. Sealing the flying sword. The ignorant are fearless. Upon hearing Supreme Bone's words, the corners of Ningyu's mouth lifted into an arc. The cold light that Ningyu threw out was none other than the world tree branch that the sapling had given him. At that time, the sapling had given him this branch so that he could force Supreme Bone to retreat and seize the altar. The sapling had said that the tree branches in this world could unleash a powerful attack at the level of an Earth Supreme. Ningyu had always wanted to use it, but never had a good opportunity. There was only one branch. Now that John Ba and the sapling were in seclusion, Ningyu needed to give Supreme Bone a full blow. Even if he could not kill Supreme Bone, he must at least make him suffer a serious injury. Not good. Supreme Bone's telepathy was extremely powerful. Before the cold light could reach him, his expression changed greatly and he hastily retreated. However, Supreme Bone's retreating speed was obviously slower by half a beat. The branch of the world tree brought up a gust of wind and smashed into Supreme Bone's chest. At the critical moment, Supreme Bone stopped and injected his vitality into his wrist in an attempt to resist the branches. Kacha! Kacha! Unfortunately, this small branch was a branch of the world tree. It was extremely sturdy. Supreme Bone's hands were crippled as soon as they came into contact with the branch. Rumble! After continuously crippling Supreme Bone's hands, the branch blossomed with its brilliance and completely exploded. Puff! The explosive power of the branches was much stronger than the corpse puppet's self-destruction. Moreover, all the impact of the explosion was concentrated on Supreme Bone's heart, intending to pierce through it. Voila! Just as Supreme Bone was about to be killed, the void suddenly broke and a huge palm emerged from the void. His palm did not bother with Supreme Bone, but grabbed at Ningyu instead. Universe Palm. Ningyu naturally would not sit and wait for death. He gathered all the essence chi in his sea of consciousness to his wrist and blasted out a blood-colored palm print. The palm print that Ningyu blasted out was instantly smashed by the huge palm. After shattering the palm imprint, the gigantic palm pressed down, intending to crush Ningyu into pieces. Swoosh! As the gigantic palm was about to hit Ningyu, the explosion of the world tree changed direction and blasted at the palm in midair. The collision caused the space to tremble. It's that thing. As the two collided, the gigantic palm quickly dissipated between heaven and earth. However, just as it disappeared, a figure sounded in the area. Dan Mainland, Chenya Empire. The voice became softer and finally disappeared completely. Phew! The gigantic palm cracked and the sound dissipated. Ningyu slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. He did not expect this. Of 10 of it, 10U1. 9. Fortunately, the branches that the sapling gave him were very powerful. Otherwise, this huge palm would be enough to crush him into pieces of meat. Of 2 2-inch, 1 Ning Ning U 1 bone, 9 bone, 1 the 1 bone, gu 1 of gu, 1 of 1, 2 of 3 1 was 1. Ning Yu's heart sank to the bottom. He had used both of his trump cards, the corpse puppet and the world tree trunk, but the crisis had not been resolved. Fight! Gritting his teeth, Ning Yu extended his right hand, and the red demon's sword flew into his hand. Is it really that thing? To Ning Yu's surprise, Supreme Bone did not attack him immediately. Instead, his eyes dimmed as he murmured, I didn't expect it to reappear in the world after so many years. Don't worry, I won't kill you. Since you know about that thing, I'll take you away and slowly interrogate you. Then, Supreme Bone's eyes lit up, and he even laughed out loud. Supreme Bone was very excited. Originally, he would have been punished even if he had captured Ningyu and taken back the altar after such a major incident had happened in the Myriad Bone Cave. However, Ningyu knew about that thing, and he felt that his chance had come. As long as he could capture Ningyu alive, not only would he not be implicated, he might even be rewarded, allowing him to improve further. If you want to fight, let's fight. Cut the crap, Ningyu said in a low voice. Haha. Don't worry, I promise I won't let you down. Supreme Bone laughed sinisterly. Is that so? At this moment, Jean-Ba suddenly opened his eyes, and an extremely terrifying aura emanated from his body. A peak 9th grade human supreme. Jean-Ba had previously said that as long as Ningyu could delay him for a certain amount of time, he could use a secret technique to raise his strength to the peak 9th grade human supreme. The aura emanating from Jean-Ba had reached the peak 9th grade human supreme, and was even stronger than that of Supreme Bone. Jean-Ba, since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. Supreme Bone's eyes shot out a cold light, and he quickly dashed out. From Supreme Bone's point of view, Ningyu was nothing to be afraid of. Before the owner of the giant palm left, he had used Dan Chi's unique telepathic method to tell him to leave Ningyu and the red flying sword, and that he could kill the rest. As for the red flying sword, it had been sealed by him, and was no longer in danger. Moreover, the owner of the giant palm had quietly injected a terrifying amount of vitality into his body, causing his strength to soar instantly. At this moment, Supreme Bone's combat power had increased by several times. Bang! Sure enough, after his strength had increased, Supreme Bone sent Jean-Ba flying with a punch. Uft! Fresh blood spurted out, and Jean-Ba's pupils shrank in fear. Your strength, how can it be so strong? Jean-Ba could not understand how Supreme Bone's strength had increased so much. One should know that the secret technique he used consumed his life as the price. That attack just now had consumed a full 10 years of his life. The punch that was exchanged for 10 years of his life had been easily countered by Supreme Bone, and he himself had been seriously injured. If it was not for Jean-Ba's strong psychological endurance, he would have been scared silly on the spot. Jean-Ba, I've always wanted to kill you, but you have secrets on you, so the higher-ups wouldn't let me. Now I can finally get my wish. After succeeding in one move, Supreme Bone did not continue to attack. Instead, he said, Don't worry, I won't kill you immediately. Instead, I'll slowly torture you. I'll only kill you when I've tortured you enough. Uft! Want to kill me? Even if I die, I'll drag someone down with me. Jean-Ba spat out a mouthful of saliva and said coldly, At most, we'll perish together. Perish together? I'm so scared. Supreme Bone patted his chest and said, The entire area has been set up with a forbidden formation by the experts. In Dan Chi, it's impossible for you to self-destruct. Supreme Bone, don't you think you're being a little too long-winded? Suddenly, an indifferent voice rang out. Supreme Bone turned his head when he heard this. He saw Ningyu holding the red demon sword, walking toward him step by step. "Stop pretending to be mysterious," Supreme Bone said coldly. "In Myriad Bone Cave, I am the absolute ruler. Even if I stand here and let you hit me, there's nothing you can do." Uft. However, before Supreme Bone's voice faded, his mouth opened wide and he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. You. Chapter 1285. Supreme Bali. Chi. As soon as Supreme Bone fell, his body rapidly shriveled and soon turned into nothingness. Devour. After the red demon's sword pierced through Supreme Bone's heart, a powerful devouring force suddenly erupted and completely devoured Supreme Bone. "What should we do next?" Ningyu said in a low voice. There was a very important reason why the red demon sword could kill Supreme Bone so easily. After this period of hard work, the sapling had completely refined the contents of the sacrificial altar, and its strength had increased by leaps and bounds. In the past, the sapling's battle prowess was only at the peak of the 9th grade human supreme. But after refining the contents of the sacrificial altar, the sapling's battle prowess was close to that of a half-step Earth Supreme. Supreme Bone was only a Yuan Qi doppelganger. With the cultivation of a peak of the 9th grade human supreme, it was naturally unable to block the sapling's attack. "Leave the Myriad Bone Cave as soon as possible. I can feel a large group of experts approaching." After refining the contents of the sacrificial altar, the sapling did not become arrogant, because its keen senses had sensed something unusual. It had also sensed the giant palm that had appeared earlier, causing its heart to tremble. "All right, let's go now." Ningyu was not an indecisive person. After all, his goal in entering the Myriad Bone Cave was to rescue the Dark Emperor. Now that he had achieved his goal, Ningyu naturally did not want to stay here any longer. "Don't rush. You guys retreat first." The sapling controlled the red demon's sword, which floated in midair. It said in a low voice, "There are restrictions all around. Let me break them." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Without another word, Ningyu immediately retreated with the Dark Emperor and Zhan Ba to the edge of the secret chamber. Whoosh! At this moment, the sapling controlled the red demon's sword and suddenly stabbed out. The red demon's sword stabbed towards the original exit of the secret chamber. Rumble! Before the red demon's sword could reach the exit, a transparent barrier rose around the entire secret chamber. Break! The sapling forced out a drop of liquid from its body and wrapped it around the red demon's sword. It then controlled the red demon's sword to slash at the barrier. Crack! The barrier immediately shattered, revealing a huge gap. "Let's go!" The sapling controlled the red demon's sword and left the secret chamber first. Behind the sapling, Ningyu, the Dark Emperor, and Zhan Ba all increased their speed and instantly left the secret room. Supreme Bone's doppelganger has been destroyed. "How can I break it?" Outside the secret chamber, Ningyu stopped in front of the cage at the corner and murmured. The sapling had said that as long as he could save the martial artist in the cage, it would help him once. In the past, Ningyu did not care about this. However, when he discovered that the sapling possessed a strong combat power, he felt the need to rescue the martial artists in the cage. "Kacha!" Before Ning could finish his sentence, the red demon's sword circled in midair and slashed at the mist within the cage. "Take him and escape at full speed." The red demon sword suddenly landed in Ningyu's hand. At the same time, the sapling's voice rang in Ningyu's ears. "At most 3 minutes, those experts will arrive at the Myriad Bone Cave." When Ningyu heard that someone was coming, he did not care about anything else. He grabbed the cultivator in the cage and pushed off the ground, quickly dashing out. Rustle! At the same time, in a dense forest not far from the Myriad Bone Cave, Numerous figures rapidly streaked across the sky. The target of these people was the myriad bone cave. Uft! However, the gray-robed elder at the front suddenly spat out a large mouthful of blood, causing the figures to instantly stop. "Venerable Bali, what's wrong?" Seeing the elder spit out blood, everyone revealed shocked gazes. One must know that amongst them, Venerable Bali had the highest cultivation and was the strongest. Earth Supreme. Venerable Bali was a Grade 1 Earth Supreme. He was the person in charge of this trip to the Myriad Bone Cave. "Speed up. The array I set up in the depths of the Myriad Bone Cave has been broken." Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, Venerable Bali said, "This time, no matter what, we must find that thing, no matter the cost." "What? The array set up by Venerable Bali has been broken? How is that possible? Could it be that the other party has an Earth Supreme expert?" Hearing Venerable Bali's words, everyone looked at each other in shock. One must know that amongst the pill puppet, not only did Venerable Bali have a high cultivation, his attainments in arrays were also extremely profound. In terms of arrays, even some middle-rank Earth sovereigns were far from being as formidable as Venerable Bali. To be able to break the array set up by Venerable Bali meant that the other party had a middle-rank Earth sovereign. Thinking of a middle-rank Earth sovereign, these people slightly retreated. Their formation was huge. Aside from Venerable Bali, there were also quite a few half-step Earth sovereigns and several pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereigns. However, with so many of them together, they still weren't a match for a middle-rank Earth sovereign. Boom! Venerable Bali heavily stomped his right foot on the ground and coldly said, "What are you panicking for?" The array in the depths of the Myriad Bone Cave was set up by me from afar. Its power is only a tenth of its peak. It's nothing much if the other party can break it. The other party took so long to kill Venerable Bone's clone. From this, we can see that there are no middle-rank Earth sovereigns among them. According to my observations, the strongest among them is at most a half-step Earth sovereign. With so many of us working together, what's there to be afraid of? As he spoke, Venerable Bali's gaze swept across everyone. Every pill puppet that was stared at by Venerable Bali subconsciously lowered their heads. Thinking about it, everyone felt that Venerable Bali's words made sense. With so many of them working together, they could even contend against a pinnacle first-grade Earth sovereign. There was nothing for them to fear. Those who cower will be killed. Leaving those words behind, Venerable Bali waved his hands and tore through the void. Seeing Venerable Bali leave, the remaining people looked at each other. Whoosh! Venerable Bali was a supreme expert among the pill puppets. His request couldn't be ignored. Although they were afraid, they still had to go to the Myriad Bone Cave. Their speed was extremely fast. A 3-minute journey was forcibly shortened to a minute. All of you guard this place. Don't let a single bird escape. In front of the Myriad Bone Cave, Venerable Bali pointed at a few pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereigns and said, "The rest follow me into the Myriad Bone Cave." Venerable Bali's group had a powerful lineup. Pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereigns, half-step Earth sovereigns, and Earth sovereigns were all present. Damn it! As they passed through the first and second layers of the Myriad Bone Cave, Venerable Bali was so angry that his teeth itched. The Myriad Bone Cave was the sacred cultivation ground of the pill puppets. Now that it was destroyed, it pained him greatly. Very quickly, Venerable Bali and the others arrived at the deepest part of the Myriad Bone Cave. Swish! Standing in front of the secret chamber in the deepest part, Venerable Bali's face completely darkened. Crack! His fists were clenched so tightly that crackling sounds could be heard. He was exceptionally furious. They were a step too late. Even though they had hurried with all their might, they were still a step too late. Since Venerable Bali did not speak, The other pill puppets did not dare to make a sound. Chase! Chapter 1286. Chapter 1286. Chapter 1286. Three Rock Caves. The Three Rock Mountain was located at the border between the Danqing continent and the Xianyu continent. It was a few hundred miles long, and demonic beasts roamed the mountain. If one was careless, they would become food for a powerful demonic beast. Sha, sha, sha! In the depths of Three Rock Mountain, for figures quickly shot past. They rushed forward at an extremely shocking speed. After running for dozens of minutes, the four figures finally stopped. Ningyu, Dark Emperor, Battle Tyrant, the Blood Demon Venerable. Looking carefully, these four cultivators were none other than Ningyu and the others. After leaving the 10,000 Bone Cave, Ningyu and the others rushed without stopping. They did not dare to linger around the 10,000 Bone Cave. Blood Demon Venerable, you said that the thing is in the Three Rock Mountain. Looking around, Ningyu frowned slightly and said, "Where exactly is it? Bring us there." Upon hearing Ningyu's words, the Blood Demon Supremacy's cloudy eyes flickered. With the help of the sapling, the Blood Demon Venerable had already recovered 10 to 20% of his strength, reaching the pinnacle of the 9th grade sovereign realm. The Blood Demon Venerable knew very well what was hidden within the Red Demon's sword, so he did not dare to act rashly. After pondering for a moment, the Blood Demon Venerable answered, "In the deepest part of the Three-Stone Mountain there is a Three-Stone Cave. That thing is inside the Three-Stone Cave." Back then, the Blood Demon Venerable had obtained a small piece of the World Tree's branch. But unexpectedly, the news leaked out and was discovered by Dan Chi. The World Tree had a fatal restraining effect on the Pill Centipede. So the higher-ups of the Pill Centipede issued a wanted order. They had to find that small branch no matter what. Fortunately, the Blood Demon Venerable had hidden the World Tree branch in the Three-Stone Cave and used a secret technique to seal all of his memories in his sea of consciousness. As long as Danling dared to carry on the memory devouring to him, he would make the memories in the sea of consciousness all explode, so that Danling could no longer find the World Branch trunk. Fortunately, this method allowed the Blood Demon Venerable to survive. Otherwise, the Blood Demon Venerable would have long been blasted into dregs. Let's go to the Three Rock Cave. Ning, you didn't want to waste time here. What if the experts from the pill furnace caught up to him? On the way to escape, Ning Yu communicated with the sapling. The sapling had personally admitted that there was a powerful first-grade Earth sovereign in the pellet pond, and he wasn't his opponent. Thus, he had to obtain the other branch, or he wouldn't be able to avoid this calamity. Ning Yu understood the gravity of the situation. He stomped on the ground, intending to head towards the Three-Stone Cave. Wait. However, before Ningyu could take more than a few steps, the Blood Demon Venerable said in a deep voice, "There are 3 powerful demonic beasts in the Three-Stone Caves. With our current combat power, we will only be sending ourselves to our deaths if we go over." 3 powerful beasts? Ningyu was slightly startled. What are their cultivation levels? Sure show 2 half-step Earth Sovereigns and 1 first-grade Earth Sovereign, said Blood Demon Venerable. I can't believe it. Ningyu felt a lingering fear. If it wasn't for the timely reminder from the Blood Demon Venerable, their arrival at the Three-Stone Cave would have been no different from courting death. Although the sapling was powerful, its strength was only equivalent to a half-step Earth Sovereign. It wasn't a match for a first-grade Earth Sovereign. Not to mention Zhan Ba and the Dark Emperor. The 2 of them had yet to fully recover, so their combat power was negligible. I might have a way to lure the 3 stone beasts away from the Three-Stone Cave, Zhan Ba said after a brief ponder. You have a way. What way? Ningyu immediately said. If they could lure the stone beasts away, they would have a high chance of obtaining the World Branch in the Three-Stone Cave. At that time, the sapling would be able to refine it, and its strength would definitely increase by several levels. It wouldn't be helpless if it encountered the experts in the pellet pond, and it might even be able to kill all of them. Anyway, don't worry about it. Leave the 3 demonic beasts to me when we reach the 3-stone cave. Jean Ba didn't seem to want to talk about this matter. Since Jean Ba didn't want to talk about it, Ning Yu didn't continue asking. After all, everyone had their own secrets. If the other party didn't want to talk about it, it would be embarrassing to ask. Could it be that you are? Jean Ba's words didn't affect Ning Yu, but the blood demon Venerable narrowed his eyes when he heard it. The most important thing now is not to guess my identity, but to quickly find the 3-stone cave. I'll help you guys lure the stone beasts away. Although Jean Ba had no idea what attracted Ning Yu's group in the 3-stone cave, he knew that they couldn't stay here for long. Jean Ba had tasted the means of the pellet pond. If it went as he expected, the experts of the pellet pond would definitely catch up to them soon. If they didn't work hard now, they might not have the chance later. Let's go. The blood demon, Venerable, naturally knew that the situation was dire. He stomped on the ground and was the first to charge forth. Behind him, Ning Yu, Jean Ba, and the Dark Emperor did not dare to delay as they swiftly charged forth. Stop! After flying at full speed for 10 minutes, the blood demon, Venerable, stopped in a bush and raised his right hand before pressing it down. Everyone, hide your aura. Do not expose yourselves. Rustle, rustle, rustle. When Ning Yu and the rest rushed over, they stopped beside the blood demon Venerable and executed a secret technique to conceal their aura. That's the 3-stone cave. The blood demon Venerable carefully pushed the bush aside and pointed. The 2 demonic beasts at the entrance are the stone beasts. Hearing his words, Ning Yu and the rest looked in the direction that the blood demon Venerable was pointing at. Not far from Ning Yu's group, there was a massive cave entrance. The cave entrance was huge, and it could accommodate hundreds and thousands of people. There were 2 massive demonic beasts lying on the 2 sides of the cave entrance. Those 2 demonic beasts were unique with their brown skin. If one didn't look closely, they would definitely think that they were 2 stones. Quasi-Earth, Sovereign Realm. Ning Yu's face turned grave. Although the 2 stone beasts had concealed their aura, Ning Yu's keen senses could tell that their cultivation had reached the Quasi-Earth Sovereign Realm. Sapling, if you go all out, can you kill those 2 stone beasts? Ning Yu started to communicate with the sapling to determine the strength of those 2 stone beasts. It's not impossible, but it will take a long time and consume a lot of energy. The sapling did not immediately answer Ning Yu, but replied after a brief pondering. Not only were the stone beasts tough, but they could also regenerate. Unless a powerful attack was used to shatter their heads, they would be able to recover very quickly. Hearing the sapling's reply, Ning Yu took a deep glance at the blood demon Venerable. The 2 stone beasts at the entrance were already terrifying, so the first grade Earth Sovereign Realm stone beast must be even more terrifying. Facing such a powerful formation, the blood demon Venerable could still place the branch of the world tree inside. One could only imagine how terrifying the blood demon Venerable was at his peak. Sapling, are you confident in controlling the blood demon Venerable? Ning Yu asked in a low voice. He was a little worried. Chapter 1287. Chapter 1287. Chapter 1287. Play dead. Don't worry. The blood demon Venerable won't be able to do anything. The sapling replied, Think of a way to lure the stone beasts away as soon as possible. I can sense that the world tree branch in the 3 stone caves is very useful to me. If I refine it, I'll possess the strength of a first-grade Earth Supreme. The strongest stone beast is in the depths of the cave. I have to find a way to lure it out. The corner of Blood Demon Venerable's eyes unconsciously twitched as he said, "Otherwise, even if Jean Ba can lure away the 2 stone beasts at the entrance, we still won't be able to enter the 3-stone cave. This is indeed troublesome." Ning Yu also knew the seriousness of the problem. Jean Ba was injured, so it was unrealistic for him to lure out the stone beast in the cave. The Dark Emperor's injuries had not recovered yet, so it was not appropriate for him to go. Finally, Ning Yu's gaze fell on the Blood Demon Venerable. Although the Blood Demon Venerable had yet to recover to his pinnacle state, his fighting strength had reached the pinnacle 9th grade sovereign realm. Seeing that Ning Yu was looking at him, the Blood Demon Venerable shifted his gaze left and right. Clearly, he didn't want to face the stone beast. "I'll go with you to lure out the stone beasts in Cave 3. Jean Ba, stay here and wait for an opportunity." Ning Yu's tone was unquestionable. "This time we can only succeed. Failure is not an option. All right." The Blood Demon Venerable's eyes flickered, as if he was having an intense mental struggle. Very soon, the Blood Demon Venerable gritted his teeth and said, "Let's go!" Whoosh! With that, the Blood Demon Venerable stomped his feet on the ground and dashed forward. Whoosh! Whoosh! Seeing the Blood Demon Venerable rushing out, Ning Yu did not dare to delay and followed closely behind him. As for Jean Ba, he began to move his body, looking for a suitable position. Am I the only one who can't help? Seeing that everyone was doing their jobs, the Dark Emperor rolled his eyes. His strength was the weakest, so he could help, but he would only be a hindrance. Kill! Ning Yu held the red demon's sword and slashed out. Immediately, the sky changed color as a sword light as thick as a person's waist blasted towards the stone beast on the left side of the cave. Blood Demon Palm. Blood Demon Venerable waved his hands again and again. In a split second, several palm prints flew out and bombarded the stone beast on the right side of the cave entrance. Bang, bang, bang. The expressions of Ning Yu and the Blood Demon Venerable changed at the same time. Their powerful attacks couldn't even break through the stone beast's defense. One had to know that their battle prowess was exceptionally terrifying. If even they couldn't break through the stone beast's defense, one could only imagine how terrifying its defense was. Roar! Roar! The attacks of Ning Yu and the Blood Demon Venerable had obviously alarmed the 2 huge stone beasts. They opened their eyes at the same time, opened their mouths wide, and spat out several stones. Ka ka ka! Ning Yu hurriedly brandished the red demon's sword and sliced the rock that the stone beast had spat out into 2. Blood Demon Venerable's left and right hands started working, smashing the rocks into pieces. Go! Ning Yu knew that it wasn't a long-term solution if this continued. Now that things had come to this, they could only take the risk and attack the depths of the 3-stone cave to force the powerful stone beasts out. This was the only way they could hope to obtain the World Tree Branch in the 3-stone cave. Where do you think you're going? Just then, something strange happened. Blood Demon Venerable gave up on the stone beasts, clenched his right hand into a fist, and punched at Ning Yu. There's something wrong with you. Ning Yu instantly stopped, and the red demon's sword in his hand stabbed out. Poof! At this moment, the red demon's sword was controlled by the sapling. Ning Yu was just a puppet that wielded the red demon's sword. Impossible I hid myself so well. How did you discover me? Looking at the red flying sword at his heart, Blood Demon Venerable roared, "One step, just one step, and I can recover to my peak state. I might even be able to improve further. It's all because of you. I'll tear you apart." The Blood Demon Venerable was furious to the extreme. "I hate you. If I had known, I would have waited for you to enter the depths of the 3-stone cave before attacking. That way I could have killed you." Blood Demon Venerable was so angry that his nose was crooked. There was indeed an Earth Supreme stone beast in the depths of the 3-stone cave, and he had sealed it. As long as he could use a secret technique to refine the stone beast, he would be able to recover to his peak state very quickly. Now it was all for naught. I can't accept this. Blood Demon Venerable's heart had been pierced, but he was still not dead. He continued to roar. I knew you would have such evil thoughts, so I've been guarding against you. Ning Yu withdrew the red demon sword and said calmly, I wanted to let you go, but you didn't know how to cherish it. Don't blame me for that. Poof! Blood Demon Venerable spat out a mouthful of blood when he heard Ning Yu's sarcastic words, and his entire body began to wither. In the short span of a minute, Blood Demon Venerable had turned into a puddle of pus, no longer existing. Roar! At the same time, a deafening roar came from the depths of the cave. Whoosh! Following the deafening roar, the entire three-stone mountain instantly became noisy. Many beasts left their nests and rushed down the mountain. 10,000 beasts galloped. At this moment, the three-stone mountain was bustling with activity, as if tens of thousands of beasts were galloping. Retreat! Before Ning Yu could appreciate the grand occasion, the nervous words of the sapling rang out in his mind. Swish! Ning Yu chose to believe in the sapling. Without saying a word, he took the red demon sword and ran in the direction of the Dark Emperor. Bang! However, Ning Yu had only taken a few steps when he felt his body lighten and was sent flying. Uft! Ning Yu spat out a mouthful of blood when he crashed into the huge rock, and his heart sank to the bottom. A massive figure stood at the entrance of the three-stone cave. The cultivation of this massive figure had reached the terrifying first-grade Earth Supreme Realm. Hide your aura, don't make a sound. Suddenly, a voice rang out in Ning Yu's ears. Zhanba! This voice was obviously Zhanba risking his life to tell Ning Yu. Zhanba's original intention was to lure the stone beast away, but the stone beast was extremely enraged. Even Zhanba did not have much confidence. Hearing Zhanba's words, Ning Yu immediately hid his aura and lay inside like a dead man. Thump! The last stone beast to come out was the Stone Beast King. The other two half-step Earth Supreme Stone Beasts knelt in front of the Stone Beast King with terrified expressions. I sensed that guy's aura just now. Why did it disappear? The Stone Beast King looked around and said in a deep voice, Go and find him. No matter what, you have to find him. Stone King, the person who set you up is right under your feet. One of the stone beasts said. The Stone King lifted his right foot and looked over. Ha ha ha. Good, I finally got rid of this guy. Looking at the Blood Demon Lord, who had been squashed into a meat patty, the Stone King laughed. You lied to me and trapped me in the three-stone cave. I didn't expect to come out again. Come here. Suddenly, a cold light shot out from the Stone King's eyes and shot straight at Ning Yu. Chapter 1288. Chapter 1288. The King of Stone Ning Yu's heart skipped a beat when he heard the King of Stone's voice. Ning Yu could clearly feel a terrifying aura locking onto him. If he dared to activate his Yuan Qi, he would definitely be killed on the spot. How disloyal! Ning Yu wanted to contact the sapling, but found that it had already fallen silent. No matter how hard he tried, there was no response. Dear King of Stone, I mean no harm. It's all because of the Blood Demon Venerable. I was forced to disturb you by him. Ning Yu immediately understood the situation. He quickly got up from the ground and said, I'm only a late-stage, 5th-grade human supreme, but the Blood Demon Venerable has the fighting strength of a peak-stage, 9th-grade human supreme. There's nothing I can do if he's forcing me. Huh, how dare you lie in front of me? The King of Stone's face turned cold. I think you're tired of living. I'm telling the truth. The Blood Demon Venerable said that as long as I enter the 3 stone caves with him, he will give me half of the world tree branch inside. In order to calm the King of Stone, Ningyu had to use the world tree to stop the King of Stone. What did you say? The world tree? As expected, Ningyu's words worked. The King of Stone picked up Ningyu and said, "Follow me to the 3 stone caves." Whoosh! Carrying Ningyu, the King of Stone turned around and left in a hurry. You two stay here. Without my permission, don't let anyone or any demonic beasts in. The King of Stone might be big, but he was very meticulous. He didn't even tell his 2 subordinates about the world tree. The first time he tried to get the world tree branch from the blood demon Venerable, he was tricked by the blood demon Venerable. The blood demon Venerable sealed the world tree branch in the 3 stone caves right next to him. He could only stare at the world tree with an itch in his heart. Now that the blood demon Venerable was killed, he felt that his chance had come. He wanted to enter the 3 stone caves again and take the world tree out. What should we do? Outside the 3 stone cave, the Dark Emperor and Zhan Ba were flustered. They wanted to save Ningyu, but they lacked the strength to do so. Putting aside the powerful Stone King that had kidnapped Ningyu, the Dark Emperor and the others had no way of dealing with the 2 stone beasts at the entrance of the 3 stone caves. Let's wait for an opportunity to strike, Zhan Ba said calmly. Now that the 2 stone beasts were frightened, they would definitely be highly focused. At this time, it would be very difficult to use a secret technique to lure them away. Zhan Ba decided to wait. As long as the 2 stone beasts were distracted, he would immediately attack. Sigh, that's the only way. With a light sigh, the Dark Emperor muttered, Ningyu should not be in danger for the time being. I need to raise my strength as soon as possible. Zhan Ba, protect me. I'm going to break through to 5th grade Human Supreme. The Dark Emperor seemed to have made up his mind as he said in a deep voice. What? Are you kidding me? Hearing the Dark Emperor's words, Zhan Ba was shocked. You are only an early 4th grade Human Supreme. How can you break through to 5th grade Human Supreme in such a short time? Furthermore, even if you manage to reach the 5th grade Sovereign Realm, you still won't be able to save Ningyu. Since the Stone King did not kill Ningyu immediately, it means that Ningyu is not in danger for the time being. All we need to do is wait. I'll find a way to contact Ningyu. Biting his lips, the Dark Emperor forced out a drop of blood essence and used a secret technique to contact Ningyu. Buzz! At the same time, in the 3 stone caves, Ningyu's expression changed slightly. I'm fine. Don't act recklessly. Ningyu cautiously told the Dark Emperor not to act recklessly. What are you doing? However, Ningyu's subtle movement did not escape the Stone King's eyes. Don't play any tricks. In the 3 stone caves, I am the absolute ruler, the Stone King said proudly. Then why did you fall for the blood demon Venerable's trap? Ningyu rolled his eyes and mumbled. Humph. The blood demon Venerable is cunning. He used the world tree as bait. Otherwise, how could I have fallen for it? You don't know how important the world tree is to us stone beasts. I know. Ningyu said, stone beasts are born with huge bodies and can't shrink. If you can refine the branches of the world tree, not only will your strength have a qualitative improvement, but you can also transform into a human form. There are 3 ways for stone beasts to take human form. First, reach the Sky Supreme level. Second, consume the transformation fruit. Third, swallow the world tree. Oh, you know a lot. The Stone King raised his eyebrows. I do know a lot. I even know how to take out the sealed branch. Ningyu continued. What? You can break the seal. The Stone King released his aura and said coldly, If you can help me break the seal, I will give you a small piece. Thank you, Stone Monarch. Ningyu was overjoyed and immediately said with gratitude. Although he said that, Ningyu didn't think so. Stone beasts were violent by nature. Ningyu knew why the Stone King didn't kill him. If he was right, the Stone King wanted to use him as an experiment to see how to break the seal left by the blood demon Venerable. Since the Stone King wanted the branch, Ningyu might as well pretend to be courteous. Let's go. The branch is sealed in the deepest part of the 3 stone caves. The Stone King grabbed Ningyu's shoulder and dashed into the depths of the cave. Both Ningyu and the King of the Stone Nation had their own plans. The King of the Stone Nation wanted to use Ningyu to break the seal and take the branch of the World Tree. Ningyu thought the same and took the branch at the critical moment. Let's go. Soon, Ningyu followed the Stone King to the deepest part of the 3 stone caves. Seeing the location where the tree branch of the world was sealed, Ningyu opened his mouth slightly and cursed. Lava! The place where the branch was surrounded by lava. It wasn't ordinary lava. It could even melt a royal rank flying sword. Help me break the seal, the Stone King said. Gulp. Ningyu swallowed. Stone King, I'm only a late-stage 5th grade human supreme. I'll be severely injured if I come in contact with the lava. I know this lava very well. The Stone King patted his chest. The lava will recede every hour. That's the best time for you to break the seal. I want to know how much time you can give me. Ningyu hesitated. 3 minutes, the Stone King said. I can't break the seal in 3 minutes. Ningyu said bluntly. I can only understand the structure of the seal in 3 minutes. I don't have time to break it. We have plenty of time. If the first time doesn't work, we can try the second time. If the second time doesn't work, we can try the third time. Chapter 1289. The Sealing Formation, all right. Ningyu nodded. As the saying went, one had to lower one's head. That was Ningyu's current state. The King of Stones was a 1st-grade Earth Supreme. He could kill Qin Fan with a wave of his hand. Ningyu had to be careful not to offend the King of Stones. Drip. Time was ticking away. There was still half an hour before the lava receded. During this half an hour, Ningyu sat cross-legged and began to circulate a spell to absorb the surrounding primordial qi to replenish his body. The temperature of the lava was extremely high. You didn't want to be roasted the first time he entered. According to Ningyu's observation, the temperature of the tree branch was still high even though the lava would recede. He had to enter at his peak state, otherwise he might die here. Sapling, how confident are you in breaking the seal? Ningyu asked the sapling. The formation that sealed the tree branch was set up by the blood demon's supremacy years ago. You couldn't break it. I need to wait and see. I'm not sure. The sapling didn't give a definite answer. After all, the blood demon's supremacy was extremely powerful at his peak. The fact that the formation he set up could even seal the stone beast was enough to show how powerful it was. I can't believe it. If it wasn't for the stone beast, Ningyu would have cursed out loud. The sapling was the main force in breaking the formation. If he wasn't confident, he was doomed to die here. Don't worry. The sapling knew what Ningyu was thinking. I was confident in breaking the formation, but the formation has changed after being eroded by the lava for years. I need to wait and see. All right. Ningyu was helpless. Now that things had come to this, he had no choice but to believe in the sapling. Whoosh! Half an hour passed in the blink of an eye. Just as the King of Stones said, the lava would recede every hour. The lava around the sealing formation began to recede in an orderly manner. Hurry up! You only have 3 minutes. The King of the Stone Nation kicked Ningyu's butt and said in a low voice, You must figure out the structure of the array this time, and try your best to break it next time. Damn it. Ningyu almost vomited blood after being kicked by the King of the Stone Nation. The Corpse King's body was so huge. His kick was full of strength. Although the King of the Stone Nation didn't use his full strength, he still managed to kick Ningyu far away, almost causing him to fall into the lava. Stop! At the critical moment, Ningyu hurriedly drew out the red demon sword and slashed out a beam of sword radiance. He borrowed the force of the sword to forcefully stop himself in midair. Ningyu's expression was ugly as he looked at the retreating lava in front of him. Ningyu really wanted to turn around and ask the King of the Stone Kingdom, "Didn't you say 3 minutes? Why hasn't the lava completely receded after 30 seconds?" Now that the lava had not completely receded, Ningyu didn't dare to take the risk. If he was contaminated by the lava, he would be done for. It will take a minute for the lava to completely recede, and it will take another minute for it to surge up. Ningyu calculated in his mind. He didn't know it before, but now that he did, he was shocked. At the very most, he only had 1 minute left. Even a master of array formations would have a hard time understanding the ceiling array in 1 minute and trying to break it. Now's the time. Ningyu's eyes were fixed on the lava. When the lava receded, his figure flashed, and he quickly flew to the front of the ceiling array. Tree sapling, familiarize yourself with the array. Ningyu pretended to observe the array, but in his mind he sent a voice transmission to the tree sapling. The tree sapling was the main force in breaking the array, and Ningyu was just a distraction to distract the king of the Stone Nation. Whoosh! To make it look real, Ningyu split a few strands of soul power to probe around the ceiling array. Ningyu's brows relaxed and furrowed as if he had encountered a difficult problem. Time's up! While Ningyu was busy probing the ceiling array, the king of the Stone Kingdom yelled, "Come out now, or the lava will cook you!" Whoosh! Hearing the king of the Stone Kingdom's call, Ningyu flew back without hesitation. "How is it?" The king of the Stone Kingdom came to Ningyu and asked as soon as he landed. "It's not looking good. The ceiling array has changed. I need more time." Shaking his head, Ningyu said, "After a minute of exploration, I've learned a little bit. I believe I can find a way to break the seal if I go in a few more times." "We have plenty of time," the king of the Stone Kingdom said. In fact, the king of the Stone Kingdom knew something about the ceiling array. The king of the Stone Kingdom knew that something had changed in the ceiling array. If Ningyu tried to hide it or couldn't tell that something had changed, the king of the Stone Kingdom would kill him without hesitation. Since Ningyu saw something and didn't hide it, it meant that Ningyu had some tricks up his sleeve. The king of the Stone Kingdom didn't dare to break the ceiling array himself, so Ningyu was the best choice. Phew! Ningyu wiped the sweat off his forehead and let out a long breath. The king of the Stone Kingdom gave him so much pressure that he wanted to kneel down. If it weren't for his willpower, Ningyu would have knelt down on the spot and become the king of the Stone Kingdom's prisoner. "Sapling, what did you find?" After calming down, Ningyu began to communicate with the sapling carefully. The king of the Stone Kingdom was powerful. If he wasn't careful, he could expose the sapling. Once the sapling was exposed, the consequences would be unimaginable. That was why Ningyu was very careful. "I can break the ceiling array, but I need someone to help me block the lava for a few minutes." The sapling did not answer Ningyu's question right away. Instead, it pondered for a moment and said, "Although the seal formation has mutated, I'm connected to the world tree branch inside. I can work with it from the inside and the outside to force an opening in the formation." What's the success rate? Ningyu didn't want to take the risk. He needed a 100% chance. "I'll do it next time. I have a 50% chance." The sapling said, "If I communicate with the branch of the world inside the ceiling array, I'll have a 60% chance, or even a 100% chance." "Okay, wait for a few more hours. You can do it when you're 100% sure," Ningyu said. "No problem." After that, the sapling fell silent, as if it was thinking about what to do next. Whoosh! Another hour passed in the blink of an eye. Whoosh! This time, Ningyu was smarter. Before the king of the Stone Kingdom kicked him, He flew toward the ceiling array. That's a fast runner. Seeing Ningyu's movement, the king of the Stone Kingdom rolled his eyes and murmured, "As long as you help me break the ceiling array, I'll get the branch of the world as soon as possible." The king of the Stone Kingdom was very confident. In order to get the branch of the world inside the ceiling array, he had put in a lot of effort and consumed a lot of energy. For the king of the Stone Kingdom, he could only succeed because he had succeeded. He had refined the branch of the world, turned into a human, and improved his cultivation. He had failed. Chapter 1290. Lava Beast, Sapling, watch carefully this time. Ningyu transmitted his voice to the sapling as he floated in the air. No problem. Compared to Ningyu, the sapling was more eager to break the seal and obtain the world branch inside. The sapling was born from the world branch. As long as it could devour the world branch inside the seal, the sapling's battle strength would reach the first-grade Earth Supreme level. At that time, Ningyu wouldn't have to be so afraid of the king of the Stone Nation. Let's go. A minute later, Ningyu's figure flashed and instantly arrived in front of the ceiling array. The task of exploring the ceiling formation was handed over to the sapling. As for Ningyu, he carefully approached the lava with his soul power. For some reason, a trace of uneasiness rose in Ningyu's heart this time and last time. The uneasiness grew stronger and stronger, to the point that Ningyu had to find out what was going on. As soon as Ningyu's soul power came into contact with the lava, it was swallowed up by the lava. Damn it! Ningyu's face darkened. He did not find out what was going on in the lava, but he lost a bit of his soul power. I don't believe it. Gritting his teeth, Ningyu began to contact the law of space, trying to get it to go with him. Buzz. However, no matter how hard Ningyu tried, the law of space would not leave the storage ring. It was as if there was something in the lava that the law of space was afraid of. Right at this moment, the retreating lava began to return and approached Ningyu. Ningyu's expression changed, and he flew back. With Ningyu's current strength, he would be dead if he faced the lava head-on. What did you find? Just like last time, the King of Stones came to Ningyu and said in a low voice, "I have a 50% chance of breaking the seal, but I need you to help me block the lava." Ningyu communicated with the sapling for a while before saying, "It's too difficult to break the formation in a minute. You have to buy me at least 5 minutes." In fact, the sapling was 90% sure that it could break the seal. All it needed was for the Stone King to resist the lava for 3 minutes. However, Ningyu was not stupid enough to tell the king of the Stone Nation everything. He had a backup plan in order to be safe. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he died. No problem. Next time, you can go and break the formation. Although Ningyu said he was only 50% sure, the king of the Stone Nation was still excited. The king of the Stone Nation only had a 10% chance of winning. Now that he had a 50% chance, he could take the risk. Moreover, even the king of the Stone Nation was afraid of the existence at the bottom of the lava. Drip, drip. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. When the lava completely retreated, Ningyu's figure burst out and arrived in front of the ceiling array formation. He waved his hands repeatedly, and suddenly several fist lights appeared, bombarding the ceiling formation. Under Ningyu's powerful attack, the seal shook a little. Ningyu used up the 1 minute. Seeing that the lava was about to return, Ningyu shouted, "King of the Stone Nation, I'm at the critical moment of breaking the formation. You must block the lava for 5 minutes." "No problem." The king of the Stone Nation opened its mouth and several stones flew out, piling up around Ningyu. Whoosh! When the molten lava collided with the rocks were immediately blasted away. "You really do have some skill." Looking at the stones around him, Ningyu said to the sapling, "Break the formation as soon as possible. I'll distract the king of the Stone Nation so that he doesn't know you're breaking the formation. While speaking, Ningyu exerted his movement technique to the extreme, moving back and forth around the ceiling array formation. Inside the three-stone cave, the king of the Stone Nation stared at Ningyu, fearing that Ningyu would play some tricks. With Ningyu distracting the king of the Stone Nation, the sapling turned into a shadow and began to hit the bottom of the seal. Boom! Every time the sapling hit the seal, the tree branch inside the formation would resonate. The sapling hit the seal from the outside, and the tree branch inside the formation from the inside. It's working. Because the formation was shaking, the king of the Stone Nation did not notice the sapling. The king of the Stone Nation was waiting. As soon as he noticed that the seal was broken, he would take action and take the tree branch. The stones that the king of the Stone Nation spat out were his most powerful technique, the scattered stones array. With so many stones, the array could shrink and expand, and it was extremely powerful. Crack! As the sapling continued to hit the seal, 3 minutes later, a small gap appeared in the seal. Whoosh! The tree branch of the world sprang out from the gap. Scattered stones array, shrink! Seeing that the seal was broken, the king of the Stone Nation was overjoyed and immediately controlled the scattered stones array to shrink. However, the king of the Stone Nation had miscalculated this time. How could the sapling allow the Stone King to take away the branch of the world tree that it had spent so much effort to break open? Crack! Crack! In the next instant, the sapling extended a branch and wrapped the tree branch in front of it. The branch exerted force, and the tree branch merged into its body. What? The sudden change made the king of the Stone Nation's expression change. The king of the Stone Nation's expression changed. It was not anger, but ecstasy. The king of the Stone Nation was very sensitive to the tree branch of the world. Naturally, he could tell that the sapling was the tree branch of the world and that it was full of vitality. The tree branch inside the seal had almost lost all of its vitality. It was just a withered branch. The sapling in front of him not only had a strong vitality, but it could also stretch freely. Scattered stones array. The king of the Stone Nation's eyes widened. He kept pushing the scattered stones array. Oh no, I have to find a way to leave. Seeing that the space around them was getting smaller and smaller, Ningyu's face darkened. He said, "Sapling, now that you've taken the tree branch, break the space and let's get out of here." "I can't leave now. Give me an hour. As long as I completely merge with the tree branch, I'll be able to go anywhere in the world," the sapling said proudly. Damn! Ningyu's nose was crooked with anger. You got all the benefits and now I have to suffer? Ningyu knew how terrifying the scattered stones array was. It could even block the lava, let alone him. As long as he was squeezed by the scattered stones array, he would be crushed into pieces. Whoosh! Right at this moment, the situation changed. A giant head emerged from the bottom of the lava. It opened its mouth and swallowed the scattered stones array. "Giant lava beast, how dare you touch my man?" Seeing that Ningyu was swallowed by the giant lava beast, the king of the Stone Nation was enraged. "If you know what's good for you, give him back now, or I'll destroy your foundation." The king of the Stone Nation was infuriated. How could he not be angry that his man had flown away? "I'll give him back in an hour." A deep voice came from the giant lava beast's mouth. Then the giant lava beast's giant head sank into the lava again. "I'm so angry." The king of the Stone Nation was furious. He had worked so hard and was about to get the tree branch, but the giant lava beast had taken it away. Roar! Chapter 1291. Refinement. It's not that easy to refine an entire world tree sapling. The King of Stones calmed down quickly. The King of Stones knew very well how terrifying the world tree was. It would be very difficult for the lava beast to refine an entire world tree sapling. It might even die. I'll let you test the waters for me. The King of Stone's expression was extremely cold. This world tree is mine. No one can take it away from me. At the same time, in the lava beast's stomach, Ning Yu was still struggling. Fortunately, the loose stone array was powerful and did not shatter. Otherwise, with Ning Yu's current strength, he would have been crushed into pieces. The sapling is refining the world tree branch. I can only rely on myself. Ning Yu's eyes darted around, trying to think of a solution. Based on the lava beast's refining speed, the loose stone array would only last 10 minutes at most. After 10 minutes, it would completely shatter. Once the loose stone array broke, Ning Yu would have to face the lava beast and the lava head-on. Whoosh! Whoosh! However, Ning Yu's guess was obviously wrong. In just a minute, the loose stone array collapsed. Every piece of rock was burnt into powder by the scorching heat. The temperature inside the lava beast was even higher than the lava. Originally, the loose stone array could last 10 minutes in the lava, but now it could only last for a minute. Elixir cauldron. At this critical moment, Ning Yu took out the elixir cauldron. Ning Yu leaped into the cauldron. The elixir cauldron was ranked 30th on the elixir cauldron heaven roll. It was made of a special material and should be able to block the lava beast for a while. Bang! 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 Inside the elixir cauldron, Ning Yu looked anxious. Things had gone beyond his expectations. Although the elixir cauldron was made of a special material, it could conduct heat. In other words, as the lava beast kept attacking, the temperature inside the elixir cauldron became higher and higher. Drip! Drip! Beads of sweat rolled down from Ning Yu's forehead. In just a few seconds, Ning Yu's clothes were drenched in sweat. Chi! Accidentally touching the inner wall of the Nihility pill furnace, Ning Yu hurriedly withdrew his palm. The temperature of the incorporeal pill furnace was too high, so high that Ning Yu could barely hold on. Am I going to die here today? Ning Yu was unwilling. He had been reborn and was unwilling to die here. Since he couldn't stay in the Nihility pill furnace, Ning Yu simply jumped out of the furnace, waved his hands, and began to attack the lava beast. Brat, don't waste your energy. With your lousy skills, don't even think about coming out of my stomach. The lava beast's powerful voice sounded in Ning Yu's ears. I haven't eaten a living person in a long time. You're the first in decades. After I refine you appetizer, I will refine that world tree. TSK, I didn't expect to find a world tree sapling after so many years of hiding here. I didn't stay here for so long in vain. The lava beast seemed to be savoring something. Soon it said coldly, Don't struggle, I can give you a quick death. Humph. Even if I die, I will make you pay. With a cold snort, Ning Yu threw out several punches and palm prints. However, when Ning Yu's attack landed on the giant lava beast's body, it was like scratching an itch and did not cause any damage to it at all. I am the lava beast in this 10,000 feet of lava. I am the absolute ruler. The lava beast opened its mouth and swallowed a large amount of lava, wanting to use the lava to refine Ning Yu. Damn it! Ning Yu stopped attacking and quickly dodged. Fortunately, Ning Yu dodged quickly. Otherwise, he would have died if he was touched by the lava. Ha ha ha! Let's see how long you can dodge. The lava beast was not angry when Ning Yu dodged the first mouthful of lava. Instead, it laughed and swallowed the second mouthful of lava. Swoosh! Ning Yu dodged again. Swoosh! Swoosh! Next, the third, fourth, and even the 10th mouthful of lava were all dodged by Ning Yu. However, as the lava beast continued to swallow the lava, Ning Yu found that the space he could move in was getting smaller and smaller. In the end, there was only an extremely narrow area. At this moment, as long as the lava beast swallowed another mouthful of lava, Ning Yu would have nowhere to hide. Swoosh! The lava beast did not disappoint Ning Yu. It opened its mouth and swallowed a mouthful of lava. Mirage armor. At this critical moment, Ning Yu took out the mirage armor. trying to resist the erosion of the lava. The Mirage armor was a mid-tier Emperor armor and had amazing defense. Chi-Chi. The lava fell on Ningyu's body and came into contact with the Mirage armor. Not bad. The Mirage armor was the treasure of the Mirage Rat clan. It was not corroded by the lava. It actually has such a treasure armor that can expand and contract freely. Not bad, it's mine now. A soft voice could be heard. Then an arm suddenly appeared and grabbed the Mirage armor. Good chance. How could Ningyu waste such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? He immediately took out the red demon sword and slashed at the lava beast's arm. Crack! A crisp sound could be heard. The lava beast's arm was cut off by the red demon sword and fell into the lava. Chi-Chi. The arm was separated from the lava beast's body and instantly lost its protection. The temperature of the lava was very high. In an instant, the lava beast's arm was melted. After losing an arm, the lava beast was enraged. It roared, "Kid, how dare you cut off my arm? I will tear you apart." The lava beast was very angry. It did not expect to lose an arm because of its carelessness. Although this arm was not its main arm, losing it would reduce its combat power by at least 10%. We're fine. Extremely hot flames suddenly appeared around Ningyu. These flames were special. They were a grade higher than lava and belonged to the lava beast's life flame. The lava beast was a fire attribute. The life flame was the lava beast's strongest trump card. Seeing a ball of flames coming toward him, Ningyu knew that the lava beast was going to go all out. I hope the Mirage armor can block it. Ningyu frantically injected the Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness into the Mirage armor. He wanted to rely on the Mirage armor to block the lava beast's life flame. Even if I don't have this armor, I will still refine you. The lava beast snorted coldly. In order to vent the hatred in its heart, it took out all of its life flame. It wanted to refine Ningyu and get rid of Ningyu. Crack! Under the pressure of the lava beast's life flame, the Mirage armor made a cracking sound. It looked like it was about to shatter. Not good. The Mirage armor is only a middle-grade Emperor weapon. It will not be able to withstand the lava beast's life flame. Ningyu's expression changed. If the Mirage armor was a middle-grade Emperor weapon, or even a superior-grade Emperor weapon, Ningyu would not be worried. Chapter 1292. Chapter 1292. Chapter 1292. Bone Fire Die. The lava giant pushed its natal flame to the limit, wanting to refine Ningyu as soon as possible. The lava beast's target was the World Tree sapling, not Ningyu. It did not want to waste too much time on Ningyu. As long as he could kill and refine Ningyu, he would not think too much about it. What should we do? Seeing that the phantom armor was about to shatter, Ningyu's eyes turned rapidly, and his hair fluttered in the wind. Pucci! At this moment, Ningyu felt a tightness in his chest and spat out a mouthful of blood. Rumble! The blood that Ningyu spat out was dark gold in color. A terrifying aura emanated from Ningyu's body. What? The sudden change not only shocked Ningyu, but also the giant lava beast. Ningyu was already on the verge of collapsing. Why did he suddenly erupt? Inside the lava beast, Ningyu understood his body's condition the best. Under the tremendous pressure, the bloodline of his divine battle body circulated rapidly. A drop of dark golden liquid appeared at his heart and flowed throughout his body. At this moment, Ningyu felt unprecedentedly comfortable. Is this the terrifying part of the war god physique? Slowly closing his eyes, Ningyu tried his best to feel the changes in his body. Last time at the horizontal canyon, in order to kill the corpse puppet, Ningyu had used 100% of his bloodline power. At that time, Ningyu's battle prowess rose from a 5th-grade human supreme to a 9th-grade human supreme, easily defeating the corpse puppet. What Ningyu felt now was similar to that time, but there were still some differences. Ningyu could feel that as the dark, golden liquid circulated, the toughness of his body was increasing at a terrifying speed. At the same time, Ningyu's cultivation was also rising rapidly. Late rank 5, peak rank 5, peak rank 5. In just a few seconds, Ningyu's cultivation had skyrocketed to the peak of level 5. Moreover, it was still soaring. Bang! A muffled sound rang out. Ningyu suddenly opened his eyes. At this moment, Ningyu had advanced from the late rank 5 stage to the early rank 6 stage. It's the god of war body. The lava beast turned pale with fright. The war god body had always been known for its ability to challenge those of a higher cultivation level. It was not a problem for him to fight one against many. The war god's body could instantly kill any martial artist of the same rank. The war god physique won't work either. I'll refine you all the same. The lava giant beast madly urged its natal flame, wanting to completely refine Ningyu. Phantom armor, come back. Ningyu took a deep breath and made a bold decision. He retracted the phantom armor. Pucci! As soon as the phantom armor disappeared, Ningyu was bombarded by the lava giant beast's natal flame. Spitting out a large mouthful of blood, Ningyu's body was on the verge of collapsing. After being baptized by the dark golden blood, Ningyu's body was abnormally hard, appearing dark golden. At this time, normal lava had lost its effect on him. Only the lava giant beast's natal flame could pose a threat to him. Ha 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 again! With a maniacal laugh, Ningyu opened his chest and continued to withstand the impact of the lava giant beast's natal flame. The lava giant beast was furious. At first, its natal flame could still hurt Ningyu. However, as time went by, it realized that Ningyu's physique was getting stronger and stronger. Body refining. Ningyu was using its natal flame to temper his body. The god of war body was already strong enough, but he was still tempering his body. How much willpower did he need? Lava giant beast, is this all you've got? Curling his lips, Ningyu said, bring out all your natal flames. I want to see if you can refine me completely. Hearing Ningyu's sarcastic words, the lava giant beast's face darkened. Just as Ningyu had said, he did have 2 natal flames. The first one was subdued a long time ago. The second one he had yet to subdue. Thousand Bone Flame. There were 2 reasons why the lava giant beast came to the 3-stone cave. The first was to obtain the world tree trunk. The second was to refine the 1,000 Bone Flame at the bottom of the lava. The 1,000 Bone Flame was ranked 29th on the Mystic Flame list. It was extremely powerful. It was rumored that the 1,000 Bone Flame could burn anything. The lava giant beast spent a long time to subdue the 1,000 Bone Flame. In other words, the lava giant beast could not control the 1,000 Bone Flame well. Sometimes it was obedient, and sometimes it was disobedient. Fight! The lava giant beast gritted its teeth and brought out the 1,000 Bone Flame. What? It's the 1,000 Bone Flame. Ningyu's face turned ugly, and he was shocked. The 1,000 Bone Flame was ranked 29th on the Mystic Flame list. It was even more terrifying than the 1,000 Beast Flame. Actually, Ningyu did not know that the lava giant beast had another natal flame. He was just bluffing the lava giant beast. Who would have thought that he would bluff the 1,000 Bone Flame? Let me have a taste of the terror of the 1,000 Bone Flame. Ningyu took a step forward and tried to resist the 1,000 Bone Flame. The ignorant are fearless. Seeing that Ningyu wanted to resist the 1,000 Bone Flame, the lava giant beast said coldly. No one knew the terror of the 1,000 Bone Flame better than the lava giant beast. In order to subdue the 1,000 Bone Flame, the lava giant beast had been tortured many times. Even someone as strong as him was tortured by the 1,000 Bone Flame, let alone Ningyu. Even if Ningyu had the war god's body, it would not work. Pucci! As expected, the moment the thousand-bone flame wrapped around Ningyu. Ningyu spat out a large mouthful of blood. The thousand-bone flame is indeed not simple. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, Ningyu continued to resist the thousand-bone flame. Puff, puff, puff. However, with the strength of Ningyu's current body, he obviously could not resist the corrosion of the thousand-bone flame. Unless he increased the strength of his body by another level, he would not be able to resist the thousand-bone flame. Phantom armor. Since he could not resist the corrosion of the thousand-bone flame, Ningyu simply took out the phantom armor and used it to temporarily block the thousand-bone flame while he stabilized his body. Swoosh! Suddenly, the wind and clouds changed. A flame darted out from the storage ring and met the thousand-bone flame. It's the thousand-beast flame. Ningyu's eyes widened, and his face was full of disbelief. The thousand-beast flame was ranked 30th on the mystic flame list. It was only one rank lower than the thousand-bone flame. At this moment, Ningyu finally understood. The thousand-beast flame and the thousand-bone flame were competing for a ranking on the mystic flame list. In his previous life, Ningyu faintly heard a rumor. It was said that the thousand-beast flame and the thousand-bone flame were born in the same place. In the beginning, there was only one flame, but in the end, they fought and split into two. As long as the thousand-beast flame and the thousand-bone flame could be combined, an extremely terrifying flame would be born. The flame that was born would be able to rank in the top 20 of the mystic flame list. Of course, this was only a rumor. Regardless of whether it was the thousand-beast flame or the thousand-bone flame, they rarely appeared on the mainland. Whoosh! Seeing the thousand-beast flame appear, the thousand-bone flame immediately gave up on Ningyu and turned to fight the thousand-beast flame. The two powerful flames collided left and right in the lava beast's body, causing it to sweat profusely and suffer unspeakably. Stop right now. Chapter 1293. Chapter 1293. Chapter 1293 Fusion. Ah! The pain in its body caused the lava beast to let out a hysterical roar. Voila! In order to alleviate the pain coming from its body, the giant lava beast moved left and right, stirring the lava up and down. What happened? The king of the Stone Nation's eyes were fixed on the lava. Seeing the changes in the lava, the Stone King immediately stood up and unleashed his perception, wanting to probe the bottom of the lava. Chi. However, the king of the Stone Nation had obviously forgotten how terrifying the lava was. As soon as his perception got close to the lava, it dissipated between heaven and earth and was completely melted by the lava. Hiss! The king of the Stone Nation gasped and his face darkened. The Stone King thought that he could take advantage of the turbulence of the lava, but it turned out that he was overthinking and had lost a portion of his perception for nothing. I know, it must be that world tree sapling. Suddenly, the Stone King seemed to have thought of something and laughed wildly. After laughing maniacally, the Stone King calmed down and said, I have to think of a way. If nothing goes wrong, the giant lava beast will rush up from the bottom of the lava soon. I have to find a way to stop it. The giant lava beast possessed the battle prowess of a first-grade Earth Supreme, and its strength could not be underestimated. Without absolute confidence, the king of the Stone Nation would not take the risk. After pondering for a moment, the Stone King said fiercely, We might as well go all the way and kill the giant lava beast with one blow. In the Stone King's eyes, his biggest threat was the lava beast. Once the giant lava beast was taken care of, the rest of the world, tree, sapling would fall into his hands. Success or failure depends on this. I cannot be careless. The king of the Stone Nation was very careful. He first set up a small formation around him and then paid close attention to the changes in the lava. It's very difficult for the myriad beast flame to fuse with the myriad bone flame at the same time at the bottom of the lava inside the lava beast. Ningyu frowned as he looked at the two flames that were charging at each other, trying to come up with a countermeasure. At this rate, he would be affected by the battle between the two flames sooner or later. Be it the 10,000 beast flame or the 10,000 bone flame, they were both extremely terrifying flames. The 10,000 beasts flame was still manageable. After all, Ningyu had the 10,000 beasts flame heart. He would not be burned by the 10,000 beasts flame. However, the 10,000 bone flame was different. Its power was even stronger than the 10,000 beast flame. If the 10,000 bone flame targeted him, Ningyu might die in the lava beast's body. I have to think of a way out. Ningyu decided to leave the lava beast's body. He shouted, "Lava beast, open your mouth, I want out. Come out quickly." Originally, the giant lava beast had been tortured by the two flames, but when it heard Ningyu's words, its eyes lit up. "Go." Ning, you didn't want to stay in the lava beast's body. He leaped up and flew towards the lava beast's throat at full speed. At the same time, Ningyu controlled the myriad beast's flame and left. Ningyu has an idea, and that is to fuse the myriad bestial flame with the myriad bone flame. Now that he had advanced to the initial 6th grade sovereign realm, and the war god's physique was close to perfection, his battle prowess had soared. If he could fuse the myriad bestial flame and the 10,000 bone flame, his strength would soar. At that time, even if he faced a peak 9th grade supreme martial artist, he wouldn't have to fear. Swoosh! Ningyu was the first to jump out of the lava beast's body. As soon as he jumped out, Ningyu summoned the phantom armor and wrapped himself up. This was the bottom of the lava, and there was lava everywhere. Without the protection of the phantom armor, Ningyu definitely wouldn't be able to hold on for long. TSK. Even with the phantom armor, Ningyu still felt the pressure increase. Bean-sized beads of sweat rolled down his forehead. However, Ningyu couldn't be bothered to wipe the sweat off his forehead. He hurriedly shifted his gaze to the other side. There, the 10,000 bone flame and the 10,000 beast flame were fighting. Whoosh! Lava flew everywhere, and the lava in this area was constantly being devoured by the two flames. I heard that the 10,000 bone flame is your natal flame. Ningyu moved away from the lava beast and said, "Where did you get the 10,000 bone flame?" The 10,000 bone flame was born at the bottom of this lava. I obtained it decades ago, but after decades of refinement, I still haven't completely controlled it. The lava beast seemed to know how terrifying Ningyu was, so it didn't dare to act rashly for the time being. He stared at the two flames, then shifted his gaze to Ningyu and said, "If I'm not wrong, that light green flame should be your natal flame." "You're right. The 10,000 beast flame is ranked 30th on the mystic flame list. It's now my natal flame." Nodding, Ningyu said, "I can control the 10,000 beast flame at will." Hearing Ningyu's words, the lava beast's face turned ugly. Although it was a lava beast and had a high resistance against lava and flames, the 10,000 beast flame was ranked 30th on the mystic flame list. However, the 10,000 beast flame was ranked 30th on the mystical flame list. Unless his cultivation base increased, he would not be able to withstand the impact of the 10,000 beast flame. "What do you want?" the lava beast said in a low voice. "What goes around comes around. This year's luck is really bad." At first, the lava beast had suppressed Ningyu to the point of suffocation. Who would have thought that in a short 10 minutes, the lava beast and Ningyu would switch positions? "I don't want anything. I just want to make a deal with you," Ningyu said with a wave of his hand. "What deal?" Although the lava beast was talking to Ningyu, its attention was on the battle between the 10,000 beast flame and the 10,000 bone flame. It was afraid that the two flames would suddenly attack it. "If you help me deal with the Stone King, I can guarantee that the 10,000 beast flame won't attack you," Ningyu said. The lava beast's face darkened. No one knew what it was thinking. The current situation was not good for the lava beast. On one hand, The 10,000 bone flame was no longer under the lava beast's control. On the other hand, the lava beast's strength had dropped significantly after the 10,000 beast flame and the 10,000 bone flames battle. At this moment, not to mention the Stone King, the lava beast couldn't even contend against an ordinary pinnacle 9th grade sovereign. No problem. Although it knew that its strength had dropped significantly, the lava beast didn't dare to speak the truth. It had used the lava to swallow Ningyu. If Ningyu knew about its current state, he would definitely not let it go. The only thing it could do now was to agree to Ningyu's request and recover as soon as possible. As long as it could recover, it would be able to use a secret technique to escape. Sizzle! Right at that moment, the battle between the 10,000 beast flame and the 10,000 bone flame came to an end. A crisp sound rang out. The 10,000 beast flame turned around and fled, quickly arriving in front of Ningyu. What's going on? The sudden change made Ningyu's expression change drastically. If the flame of the 10,000 beasts were to be defeated, then he would be doomed for all eternity. Chapter 1294. Chapter 1294. Chapter 1294 / Something's wrong. Suddenly, Ningyu seemed to have thought of something. With a thought, he took out the flaming heart of 10,000 beasts. The blazing heart of 10,000 beasts was one with the 10,000 beasts' flame. When the 10,000 bestial flame heart left the body, the 10,000 bestial flames' combat prowess would decrease by at least 20 to 30%. It would definitely not be a match for the 10,000 bone flame. Buzz! The flame of 10,000 beasts shot out and devoured the flaming heart of 10,000 beasts in the blink of an eye. Rumble! When the two fused, the 10,000 beasts' flame became exceptionally violent. Whoosh! In the next moment, the 10,000 beasts' flame tore through the void and arrived in front of the 10,000 bone flame. The 10,000 bestial flame transformed into a giant flaming beast and directly swallowed the 10,000 bestial flame. What? This change was clearly out of the lava beast's expectations. Originally, the lava beast had thought that the 10,000 bestial flame was no match for the 10,000 bone flame. But what happened in front of him made him feel like he had been F***ed. Good. Ningyu was stunned at first, but then an ecstatic expression appeared on his face. At this moment, two words appeared in Ningyu's mind. Fusion. The 10,000 bestial flame and the 10,000 bone flame began to fuse. These two kinds of flames ranked very high on the exotic flames list, 30th and 29th respectively. Once they fused successfully, it was highly likely that a terrifying flame that was ranked in the top 20 of the exotic flame list would be born. Good chance. The lava beast was not a fool. It knew that the 10,000 bestial flame was currently fusing with the 10,000 bone flame. At this time, Ningyu would not be able to stimulate the 10,000 bestial flame. In other words, now was the best time to kill Ningyu. Kill Ningyu and seize control of the myriad beast's flame. Kill. The giant lava beast did not hesitate in the slightest and attacked as soon as it said it would. He swung his huge arm and smashed it towards Ningyu. Voila! As the lava behemoth swung its arm, the surrounding lava burst forth. Phantom armor. Ningyu knew how serious the situation was. He quickly summoned his phantom armor and retreated. Where are you going? Although Ningyu had dodged its first attack, the lava beast was not discouraged. Instead, it attacked again. From the giant lava beast's point of view, although its combat strength was rapidly declining, killing Ningyu was not a problem. War God Body. At this critical moment, dark golden blood surged from Ningyu's heart and flowed through his entire body. Ningyu was like a god of war. He clenched his right fist and punched out. You want to fight with me? Hee. Why don't you take a look at yourself in the mirror? Seeing Ningyu overestimating himself and wanting to exchange blows with him, The giant lava beast smirked and said in disdain, "Gotcha!" In the next moment, a crisp sound rang out. The lava behemoth's entire body flew out and crashed heavily on the ground. Impossible! The lava beast's face paled. It had never imagined that it would lose to Ningyu in terms of strength. He was so strong that even the king of the Stone Nation might not be able to beat him. The giant lava beast was shocked. In other words, the giant lava beast had underestimated the toughness of the war god body and overestimated his current strength. "Ningyu, let's talk things out. There's no need to resort to violence." Through this attack, the giant lava beast had already recognized the reality in front of it. It was no match for Ningyu. If they really fought, it would definitely die. "Now you want to reconcile?" Ningyu took out the red demon sword and said coldly, "It's too late." As soon as he said that, the vital energy under Ningyu's feet wrapped around him and he charged forward. Swoosh! However, Ningyu had only taken 2 or 3 steps when a cold light flashed out from the storage ring on his wrist. The cold light was very fast, and the lava in its path retreated. Soon, the cold light arrived in front of the giant lava beast and expanded in its pupils. "World!" Seeing the cold light, the giant lava beast's eyes widened, and it exclaimed, "Poof!" Before the giant lava beast could finish its sentence, the cold light pierced through its forehead and stopped in its body. The giant lava beast stood there like a wooden pillar, its mouth slightly open, and it was speechless for a long time. Whoosh! Not long after, the giant lava beast exploded from its chest. At this moment, the giant lava beast that was a first-grade Earth Supreme had died a horrible death. Sapling! After the giant lava beast exploded, a cold light rushed out and floated in front of Ningyu. Looking at the familiar figure, Ningyu said in surprise, "You have a second branch!" Ning, you clearly remembered that before the sapling merged with the world branch, it only had one branch. After merging with the world branch, the sapling had a second branch. At the same time, the sapling's strength had increased by leaps and bounds. According to Ningyu's speculation, the sapling's current strength should be equivalent to a first-grade Earth Supreme, and it was only a step away from becoming a second-grade Earth Supreme. I was just lucky. The sapling stretched out its second branch and said, "You can't even deal with a trash like the giant lava beast. How are you going to follow me in the future?" Ningyu's face darkened. The sapling was really showing off. However, Ningyu knew that this wasn't the time to talk about this. The most important thing now was to help the myriad bestial flame and myriad bone flame merge. This was the most important thing, and there couldn't be any mistakes. What's so difficult about that? Watch me. The sapling stretched out its second branch and wrapped the myriad bestial flame and myriad bone flame in the middle. You know how to do this? Ningyu was surprised. Logically speaking, the sapling had just gained sentience not long ago, so it shouldn't know these things. Of course, I'm going to grow into a world tree in the future. How can I not know these things? The sapling said proudly. Pa! Ning, you couldn't help but knock on the sapling and said, "Speak human language." Speak human language, my ass. I'm a world tree. I'm speaking tree language. The sapling said, "In ancient times, many experts comprehended the Tao under the world tree. They left behind many cultivation techniques. Among them, there was a peerless expert who once merged with a mystic flame." A peerless expert merged with a mystic flame? Ningyu was taken aback. He didn't expect such a thing to happen. Of course, my memory is a little fuzzy. That expert merged with a mystic flame, ranked top 10, the sapling said. All right, you win. Ning, you didn't want to delve into this matter. He was most concerned about whether the myriad bestial flame and myriad bone flame could be merged. Don't worry, leave it to me. Seeing Ningyu's worry, the sapling said, "With me around, there won't be any accidents." Chi. The myriad bestial flame was ranked 30th on the mystic flame list, while the myriad bone flame was ranked 29th. It was originally extremely difficult for them to merge, as difficult as ascending to the heavens. However, with the sapling's help, the speed of their merging gradually increased. At this speed, it would take at most 10 minutes to completely merge. Swish, swish, swish. At the same time, several figures suddenly appeared at the entrance of the 3 stone caves. The leader was an old man dressed in gray. Chapter 1295. Chapter 1295. Chapter 1295. Anger. Not good. All of them are pill puppets. Not far away from the 3 stone cave, the Dark Emperor and Jean Bas' expressions changed drastically. With the Dark Emperor and Jean Bas' keen perception, they could naturally sense the cultivation of Venerable Ba, Li, and the others. What now? Jean Bas' eyes flickered as he panicked. If there were only 3 stone beasts, he was confident that he could lure them away and rescue Ningyu. However, a large number of Pill Refinement Realm experts had suddenly appeared, and the weakest amongst them was a pinnacle 9th grade sovereign. There were even many quasi-Earth sovereigns amongst them. Let's wait and see. The stone beasts will definitely clash with the pill puppets. We are not in a hurry. The Dark Emperor was unusually calm, so calm that it was a little scary. During the time that Ningyu was trapped, he had been trying to break through, but unfortunately, all his attempts ended in failure. Although he was unable to break through, a lot of information suddenly appeared in the Dark Emperor's mind. The Dark Emperor had a familiar feeling about this information, but he couldn't grasp it or touch it. The additional information in his mind was not entirely a bad thing. At the very least, it made the Dark Emperor less rash. Sigh, now that things have come to this is all we can do. Jean Ba said with a sigh. Rumble. At the same time, Venerable Ba, Li said in a deep voice, Call your leader out. I have something to ask him. Ka. Venerable Ba, Li's performance was very domineering. As he spoke, he unleashed his aura and frantically suppressed the 2 half-step Earth Sovereign stone beasts. Along the way, Venerable Bali and the others followed the Blood Demon Venerable's aura. In front of the 3 stone cave, the Blood Demon Venerable's aura had completely disappeared. With Bali's intelligence, he could naturally guess that the Blood Demon Venerable was hiding in the Tri-Stone Cave. The 2 quasi-Earth Sovereign Realm Stone Beasts were definitely left behind by the Blood Demon Venerable. Roar! Being pressured by Venerable Ba, Li's powerful aura, the 2 quasi-Earth Sovereign Realm Stone Beasts emitted crackling noises as they roared towards the sky. Not good. In the depths of the 3 stone cave, the Stone King's expression turned ugly. He was waiting in front of the lava, waiting for the lava behemoth to emerge from the bottom. The sudden change at the entrance of 3 stone cave infuriated him. Whatever, the world tree sapling is more important. With a cold expression, the king of the Stone Nation decided to stay for the time being. Compared to the 2 half-step Earth Supremes, the world tree sapling was more important. The Stone King chose to give up on the 2 stone beasts and continued to move deeper into the cave, setting up a formation. It was very difficult to set up a profound formation, and there was no time for the Stone King to set it up. The formations set up by the Stone King were very simple, so simple that they could be broken with brute force. However, brute force had its limitations. Unless one's strength was greater than the Stone King's, it was impossible to break the formation. Damned lava beast, why isn't it out yet? After setting up several arrays, the Stone King paced back and forth in the depths of the 3 stone cave, looking very nervous. The king of the Stone Nation knew that he didn't have much time left. He had to hurry. Let's fight. Gritting his teeth, the Stone King once again split a portion of his perception to carefully approach the lava. This time, the Stone King's expression was very interesting. It was not because of the powerful heat of the lava, but because the lava seemed to have lost its soul. Despite its high temperature, it was not lethal at all. Could the World Tree sapling have devoured the lava beast? The Stone King wondered. The Stone King knew that some powerful branches of the World Tree could devour martial artists. What the lava beast had taken was not an ordinary branch of the World Tree, but the sapling of the World Tree, which had its own consciousness. From this, it could be seen that the giant lava beast was taken care of by the sapling. "I'll go in too." The Stone King did not want to wait any longer. He felt that he had to take the risk. It was either win or die. Success or failure depended on this. Splash! The Stone King's enormous body was completely submerged in the lava. Where's the lava beast? The Stone King was slightly taken aback at the center of the lava. In the lava, he did not discover the existence of the giant lava beast. One must know that the giant lava beast was a first-grade Earth Supreme Realm cultivator. Even if Ningyu cultivated for a few more decades, he would not be a match for the lava beast. Could it be in the deepest part? The Stone King did not linger in the middle of the lava. He leaped to the bottom. "Ningyu!" The Stone King shouted when he saw the figure not far away. "How could you still be alive?" The Stone King was very confused. Logically speaking, with the lava giant's personality, it would never let Ningyu survive. But Ningyu was alive and well. While the lava beast had disappeared, suddenly, the Stone King thought of a terrifying possibility. Could it be that Ningyu had killed the lava beast? The more he thought about it, the more likely it seemed. Why can't I be alive? To be honest, Ningyu was also surprised to see the Stone King at the bottom of the lava. But on second thought, Ningyu understood. After all, the Stone King did not want to miss the sapling of the World Tree. But Ningyu was not afraid of the Stone King. With the sapling nearby, it was almost impossible for the Stone King to kill him. Humph! "Give me the sapling of the World Tree, and I'll spare your life." The Stone King snorted, not taking Ningyu seriously at all. "You want me to give you the sapling of the World Tree?" Ningyu was dazed at first. Then he grabbed the sapling and threw it at the Stone King. Swoosh! The sapling cooperated. It did not do anything, but let Ningyu do whatever he wanted. Stop! There must be something wrong. The Stone King did not think he had the charisma to make Ningyu give him the sapling of the World Tree. Since Ningyu dared to throw the sapling at him, it meant that he had a trump card. The Stone King opened his mouth and spat out a rock at the sapling. Crack! But the rock did not stop the sapling. It did not even slow down the sapling. In the blink of an eye, the sapling was in front of the Stone King. Smack! One of the branches expanded rapidly and whipped the Stone King's body. The sapling was furious. He was the great World Tree, and not just anyone could order him around. Smack! After the first branch was sent out, the sapling sent out a second branch. The two branches whipped at the Stone King from all directions. Although the sapling's body was extremely hard, the sapling was not an ordinary tree. It was the World Tree, and its branches were extremely hard. What the hell is this? The Stone King's pupils contracted when the branches hit him. He quickly retreated. But how could the sapling let the Stone King retreat? It swung the branches again and again, making the Stone King dizzy. "I'm so angry." Since he could not retreat, the Stone King decided to let go. He swung his huge arm and smashed it towards the sapling, wanting to use this opportunity to break the sapling. Crack! A crisp sound was heard. Chapter 1296. Retreat. Ah! The King of Gems was going crazy. He was a Grade 1 Earth Supreme, but now he was so weak. If others saw this, where would he put his face? Let's go! The King of the Stone Nation was not an indecisive monster. He knew that he was no match for the sapling, so he left immediately without saying a word. Whoosh! The King of Gems was a Grade 1 Earth Supreme. If he wanted to retreat, even the sapling would not be able to stop him. However, the sapling did not seem to want to stop the King of Gems. Why not? Ningyu was puzzled. Now that the King of Gems was defeated, their morale was high. It was the best time to kill the King of Gems. If they missed this opportunity, they would not get it again. Crack! As soon as Ningyu's voice fell, a crisp sound came from the sapling. Hearing that, Ningyu's face changed. This was because Ningyu realized that one of the branches on the sapling had actually snapped. Fortunately, the middle of the branch was connected by the bark. Otherwise, the sapling would have completely lost this branch. The King of Gem strength is beyond my expectation, the sapling said. Unless I go all out, I won't be able to fight the King of Gems. Looking at the merging flames, the sapling said, the merging of the two flames is at a critical moment. I don't want to be distracted. Hearing the sapling's words and the branch that contained the myriad bestial flame and the myriad bone flame, Ningyu finally understood. The sapling was not at its peak. One of the branches had diverted most of its power to trap the strange flames and help them merge. It was not easy for the sapling to force the King of Gems back. Sizzle! At this moment, the myriad bestial flame and the myriad bone flame gradually merged into one, forming a brand new flame. This is the myriad bone bestial flame. Ningyu's jaw dropped when he saw the flames recombining not far away. Disbelief filled his face. The new flame after the myriad bestial flame and the myriad bone flame looked like the myriad bone flame and the myriad bestial flame. Come here. Ningyu's mind stirred, wanting to control this new type of flame. Voila! The new flame wasn't perfect. It only fused together for a few seconds before separating again. It can't be fused. Ningyu was dumbfounded. He had put in so much effort, and even the sapling was almost seriously injured, but he still couldn't merge the two flames together? This is 2F asterisk cat up. I think I can control the 10,000 bone flame now. Although he was unable to merge the 10,000 bone flame with the 10,000 bestial flame, Ningyu felt that his connection with the 10,000 bone flame had deepened significantly. In other words, the current him could control both the 10,000 bone flame and the 10,000 beast flame. Looks like I won't be able to fuse them again in a short time. Ningyu muttered, the myriad bestial flame and the myriad bone flame are mutually exclusive. Unless I advance to the Earth Supreme Realm, or even the Heavenly Supreme Realm, I won't be able to fuse them together again. Sapling, when will you be able to recover to your peak condition? Ningyu turned around and asked. Ning, you wanted to leave the bottom of the lava as soon as possible. After all, the Dark Emperor and John Ba were still outside. He was afraid that the king of the Stony Nation would attack them out of desperation. It will take a long time for me to recover to my peak condition, and I will need a lot of treasures. The sapling had already glued the broken branches back together. I know you want to go out, but I have to remind you that there are many elixir puppets in the 3 stone caves. The weakest among them is a peak 9th grade human supreme, and there is even a 1st grade earth supreme. That 1st grade Earth Supreme is no weaker than the king of the Stony Nation. What? Ningyu's heart went cold, and his heart sank to the bottom. If what the sapling said was true, then he wouldn't be able to leave the bottom of the lava in a short time. What is their relationship with the king of the Stony Nation? Suddenly, Ningyu seemed to have thought of something and asked hurriedly. Ningyu was concerned about the relationship between the king of the Stony Nation and the elixir puppets. If they worked together, then the consequences would be unimaginable. If there was a feud between them, then there was still a chance. Don't think too much. I have already sealed the bottom of the lava. The elixir puppets outside won't be able to find out what's going on. The sapling continued. Besides, the king of the Stony Nation is not stupid enough to tell the elixir puppets that we are here. We can't stay here forever, can we? Ningyu frowned. That's easy. I'll teach you a move. If you can use it, you can even injure a first-grade human supreme if you catch them off guard. The sapling's words were as shocking as they could get. Teach me a move? Ning Yu didn't believe the sapling. In his previous life, he was a heavenly sovereign, and even he was helpless in this situation. So what could a sapling do? In ancient times, someone said under the Tree of World that if two different kinds of fire are forcefully merged and their repelling characteristics are used, a terrifying power will be released. The sapling said, "Do you know this kind of fusion spell?" Ning Yu was overjoyed. He had heard of this special fusion spell in his previous life. An Earth Supreme was besieged by many Sky Supreme. That Earth Supreme had forcefully merged 2 of the top 10 flames on the fire list and released a terrifying power that allowed him to escape. Ning Yu was not only a Sky Supreme in his previous life, but also a peak 9th grade human supreme. At that time, Ning Yu had asked around, wanting to learn that fusion spell. Unfortunately, no one knew. No matter how much he inquired, he couldn't find a single clue. In the end, he left it unsettled. Now that he heard the sapling's words, Ning Yu's heart became lively. He could control the myriad bestial flame and the myriad bone flame. If he could master this fusion spell, his strength would increase by several times. He would be fearless even if he had to face an Earth Supreme. In your dreams! The sapling poured a bucket of cold water on Ning Yu, pulling Ning Yu back to reality. I don't know this spell either. I just want you to try it. Holy **T. Ning Yu almost cursed. It turned out that even the sapling didn't know about this fusion spell. He had been so happy for nothing. The consequences of merging the flames without the fusion spell were terrifying. In all these years, there were only a few people who were able to fuse 2 types of strange flames. All the others failed without exception and died. This is the only way out. Otherwise, we will stay here and wait for the King of Stones to come in again. The sapling said, "Don't say I didn't warn you. With my current strength, I only have a 10% chance of winning if I fight the King of Stones again." Ning Yu's face darkened. The sapling was forcing him into a dead end. Screw it! Clenching his fists, Ning Yu knew he couldn't waste any more time. Although the sapling didn't say it loud enough, Ning Yu was no fool. He knew there must be many elixir puppets in the 3-stone cave. The only thing he could do now was to forcefully merge the myriad bestial flame and the myriad bone flame and use their repelling characteristics to unleash a terrifying power. That was the only way he could fight his way out and seize the initiative. Chapter 1297. Kill. Bang. Bang. At the entrance of the Tri-Stone Cave, Supremacy Bali threw a stone beast to the ground. A powerful voice rang out from Bali's mouth. "Stony Monarch, I know the Blood Demon Sovereign and Ning Yu are inside. I advise you to hand them over, or I'll flatten the Tri-Stone Cave." Venerable Ba Li was very powerful. His voice turned into a sharp gust of wind as he rushed into the depths of the cave. The Stony Monarch sat beside the lava, his expression indifferent and unmoved. The World Tree sapling's terrifying battle prowess made the Stony Monarch's heart tremble. Moreover, it was unrealistic for the Stony Monarch to probe the situation inside after coming up from the bottom of the lava. Not to mention whether he could probe it. He didn't even have the guts to do so. Swish! Suddenly, the Stony Monarch stood up and waved his hands, setting up layers of arrays above the lava. The formations that the king of the Stone Nation had set up were extremely terrifying, even more so than the formations that he had just set up. The World Tree sapling is mine. No one can take it away from me. A cold light flashed in the Stony Monarch's eyes as he turned and walked out of the Tri-Stone Cave. But after 3 steps, the Stony Monarch stopped and said in a clear voice, "Friends outside, I don't know the Blood Demon Sovereign or Ning Yu. I advise you to leave as soon as possible. Ha ha ha! Halfway through the stony monarch's words, Supremacy Bali threw his head back and laughed. You think I'll leave just because you tell me to? Wouldn't I lose face then? Crack! As he spoke, Supremacy Bali raised his right foot and stomped heavily on the head of a stone beast. Supremacy Bali didn't hold back. Terrifying energy rippled from his ankle. The stone beast that Supremacy Bali was stepping on was only a half-step Earth Sovereign, so it naturally couldn't withstand Supremacy Bali's foot. Without a doubt, the stone beast was stomped to death by Supremacy Bali. I'll give you one last chance. Hand over the blood demon sovereign and Ningyu, or I'll flatten the Tri-Stone Cave. Supremacy Bali exerted a bit of force with his right foot and kicked the stone beast towards the Tri-Stone Cave. Bang! Due to the formation that the Stone King had set up, the quasi-Earth sovereign stone beast didn't reach the Stone King. It stopped a few steps away from the Stone King. Damn it! Even though the Stone King had a heart of stone, he was extremely furious when he saw his subordinates being killed by Venerable Bali. Don't go too far, the King of the Stone Nation said coldly. Going too far? Ha ha ha! When Dan Ming is handling matters, you actually dare to obstruct him. Only death awaits you. The corners of Venerable Ba Li's mouth curled up into an arc. Then he raised his right foot once more and stomped down. Kacha! The same thing happened. The hands of the other half-step Earth sovereign died beneath Venerable Bali's feet. How about it, King of the Stone Nation? Are you going to hand him over or not? Venerable Bali folded his arms in front of his chest and stared straight into the cave. Chi! The Stone King's heart trembled. He pointed with his right hand and a cold light shot out, colliding with Supremacy Ba Li's gaze. The two collided and both dissipated. No wonder you're so arrogant. Turns out you have some skill. In that short exchange, both Supremacy Ba Li and the Stone King had a clear understanding of each other's strength. They were evenly matched. Neither Supremacy Ba Li nor the Stone King could do anything to the other. In other words, there wasn't much of a difference in their strength. Under such circumstances, Supremacy Ba Li's side was undoubtedly the most advantageous. After all, Supremacy Ba Li had quite a few half-step Earth sovereigns and peak 9th grade human sovereigns on his side. The King of the Stone Nation was alone. Leave 2 peak 9th grade human sovereigns to guard the door. The rest follow me. Supremacy Ba Li handled matters swiftly and decisively without the slightest bit of sloppiness. He moved his feet and entered the cave of 3 rocks first. The other Dan Ming powerhouses didn't dare to tarry and followed close behind. Stop! After walking for several minutes inside the cave, Supremacy Ba Li raised his right hand and said in a deep voice, "Wait." Venerable Bali flicked his sleeve, and a cold light flew out in an instant. Uft! The cold light flew only 4 or 5 meters before it seemed to hit a barrier and couldn't advance any further. It's a barrier of power. Watch me break it. The corner of Supremacy Ba Li's mouth curled up. He threw a punch that landed precisely on the barrier. Crack! Just as Supremacy Ba Li said, the first barrier was a barrier of power. This kind of barrier wasn't a problem for Supremacy Ba Li, and he easily broke it. For the rest of the journey, Supremacy Ba Li kept stopping and walking. It took them half an hour to reach the deepest part of the cave. Stone King, you're quite calm. In the depths of the cave, Supremacy Ba Li stopped and said, Speak. Where are the blood demon sovereign and Ningyu? Hand them over, and I'll spare your life. Are you sure you can kill me? The Stone King's face was devoid of joy or sorrow. Killing you is as easy as blowing off dust. Supremacy Ba Li folded his arms and stared at the Stone King with interest. Ningyu and the others stole the Myriad Bone Cave's treasure. No matter what, we must get it back today. As he spoke, Supremacy Ba Li's eyes locked onto the Stone King. wanting to see if there was anything amiss with him. However, being able to cultivate to the Earth Supreme level was enough to show how extraordinary the Stone King was. Supremacy, bah! Li didn't notice anything amiss. What myriad bone cave? What treasure? What has that got to do with me? The king of the Stone Nation was still unmoved. Good, very good, very good. Supremacy, bah! Li's expression instantly turned cold. He turned his head and said, "Attack with all your might and break through the defenses in front of us as quickly as possible." In truth, Supremacy, bah! Li had noticed the Stone King's formation the moment he arrived. Venerable Bali's attainments in the art of formations were not to be trifled with. He quickly found a flaw in Supremacy, bah! Li's formation. Extending his hand, Supremacy, bah! Li pointed to the upper left corner of the formation. That is the weakest point of the entire formation. As long as you attack with all your might, you will be able to break it in no time. Hearing this, the pale refinement realm experts behind Ba Li unleashed their most powerful attacks and began to bombard the formation. Supremacy, Ba Li was no fool. He naturally wouldn't break the formation himself. Through the hurried exchange just now, Supremacy, Ba Li knew that the Stone King was powerful and on par with him. If he expended too much energy now, wouldn't he fall into the Stone King's trap? Splash. However, just as the pill puppets were doing their best to break the formation, something strange happened. A cultivator rushed out from the bottom of the lava. Ningyu. The sudden change stunned Supremacy, Ba Li at first. Then he laughed heartily. You can wear out iron shoes in fruitless searching, only to find what you're looking for without even looking. If you had been hiding at the bottom of the lava, I might not have been able to find you. But you were foolish enough to leave the lava. Since that's the case, you won't be able to escape even if you grow wings. Above the lava, Ningyu's tightly shut eyes suddenly opened. Chapter 1298. Chapter 1298. Stone Beast Rebellion. Humph. How dare you try to kill my people? The Stone King snorted, uncharacteristically supporting Ningyu. This is the Three-Stone Cave, not your Myriad Bone Cave. If you don't back off, I'll kill all of you. The Stone King's performance was extremely domineering. It was as if he wasn't facing Supremacy, Ba Li and the others, but a bunch of chickens and dogs. Hee hee, Stone King, don't think I won't touch you. Supremacy, Ba Li smiled, then said coldly, Everyone attack with all your might. Break the defensive formation. Whoosh! The pill puppets made their moves as soon as Supremacy, Ba Li's words fell. All kinds of magical arts flew out, all aimed at the same point. Crack! Although the formation set up by the Stone King was powerful, it didn't last long under the bombardment of so many core refinement realm experts. The second formation, upper left corner. Supremacy, Ba Li didn't intend to stop there. He approached step by step, ordering the pill puppets to attack the second formation. Crack! Soon, the second formation was also broken. Crack! 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 The Stone King's formations were all broken. Where are the Blood Demon Sovereign and the Black Dog? Why don't I see them here? After breaking the formation, Supremacy, Ba Li frowned. Stone King, hand over the Blood Demon Sovereign and the Black Dog, and I'll let bygones be bygones. Otherwise, I'll flatten the Three-Stone Cave. Boom! As Supremacy, Ba Li spoke, the pill puppets behind him cooperated. The pill puppets unleashed their auras and pressed down on the Stone King. Since the Stone King had stepped forward to protect Ningyu, Supremacy, Ba Li and the others believed that the Stone King and Ningyu were on the same side. Since they were on the same side, they didn't mind getting rid of the Stone King as well. Let me repeat myself. This is the Three-Stone Cave, my territory. The Stone King didn't back down. He unleashed his aura and collided with the pill puppets. Uft, uft, The Stone King was, after all, a first-grade Earth sovereign. On Supremacy Bali's side, the numerous pill puppets were naturally no match for the Stone Monarch. In just a few seconds, several of the 10,000 Bone Cave's core refinement experts vomited blood. Their complexions were a bit ugly. Humph! Venerable Bali took a step forward and coldly snorted, refusing a toast only to drink a forfeit. Rumble. As Lord Bali's voice faded, his aura soared into the sky and pressed down on the Stone King. Pucci. This time, it was the King of the Stone Nation who spat out blood. It was difficult for the King of the Stone Nation to fight one against many. Has the King of the Stone Nation changed? In the air, Ningyu was a little dumbfounded. To be honest, Ningyu was surprised that the Stone Emperor was willing to help Ningyu. Back at the bottom of the lava, Ningyu and the King of the Stone Nation had a huge battle. If it weren't for the sapling, Ningyu would have fallen into the hands of the Stone King. I understand. Ningyu wasn't a fool. He thought about it and immediately understood. The Stone King wanted to protect him because of the sapling. The sapling was too important to the Stone King, so important that he was willing to take the risk. However, there was one thing that Ningyu couldn't understand. The Stone King was scared away by the sapling at the bottom of the lava. Why would he help now? Could it be that he found a way to counter the sapling after his strength increased? It's best if both sides suffer. Although he didn't know why the Stone King would help him, Ningyu was clear that the Stone King was up to no good. Sapling, who do you think will win? Ningyu put away the myriad bestial flame and myriad bone flame and crossed his arms in front of his chest. He looked at the Stone King with interest and began to communicate with the sapling. Isn't it obvious? It must be the experts from the Myriad Bone Cave, the sapling said. Haven't you noticed? The Grade 1 Earth Supreme from the Myriad Bone Cave hasn't used his full strength yet. Every time he attacks, he's probing. Probing? Ningyu was taken aback. He looked at the battlefield and said, You're right. Every attack from Bali's supremacy seemed powerful and powerful, but that was not the case. Every attack from him was easily countered by the Stone King. What should we do now? Should we give them a big one? Ningyu said in a low voice. Let's wait and see. It's impossible to leave the 3-stone cave now. And at this point, the sapling paused for a moment and didn't continue. And what? Ningyu asked. If I'm not mistaken, all the stone beasts in the 3-stone mountain are heading this way. Whoosh! It was just as the sapling had said. All the stone beasts in the 3-stone mountain were mobilized. An overwhelming number of stone beasts came out of the caves. The number of stone beasts continued to grow. In the end, an extremely terrifying group swept across the 3-stone mountain. Wherever the group passed, not even a blade of grass would grow. It was extremely terrifying. Oh no, it's the stone beasts. Not far from the 3-stone cave, the Dark Emperor and John Ba's expressions changed when they saw the billowing smoke. They had never seen so many stone beasts before. Even if these stone beasts were only low-level human supremacies, they could still trample them into pieces with their advantage in numbers. Go underground. The Dark Emperor and John Ba didn't want to stay there a second longer. They leaped and drilled into the ground. Holy crap, there are stone beasts underground too. The Dark Emperor and John Ba were dumbfounded after just a few meters underground. They had thought that all the stone beasts were above ground. Who would have thought that there was an army of stone beasts underground? Gulp! Think of a way to enter the 3-stone cave. Swallowing a mouthful of saliva, the Dark Emperor leaped out of the ground. Whoosh! Whoosh! The Dark Emperor and John Ba immediately ran toward the entrance of the 3-stone cave. As the saying went, the most dangerous place was the safest place. Maybe the stone beasts wouldn't enter the 3-stone cave? There was always hope. Otherwise, they would be no different from salted fish. It's you, Jean Ba, and that black dog. The Dark Emperor and John Ba had just arrived at the entrance of the Three-Stone Cave when they were discovered by two peak Grade 9 human supremacies. Although the two pill puppets had discovered the Dark Emperor and John Ba, they didn't dare to make a move here. This was because the Stone Beast army had already arrived in front of the Three-Stone Cave and surrounded it. At this time, even the slightest leakage of Yuan Qi could cause the Stone Beasts to attack the Three-Stone Cave. Therefore, the Dark Emperor and the Myriad Bone Cave's pill puppets temporarily put aside their differences and didn't rashly use their Yuan Qi. We have to think of a way. We can't stay here forever. One of the Myriad Bone Cave's pill puppets said solemnly, "What can we do? It's nothing more than entering the Three-Stone Cave and asking Venerable Bali for help." The other pill puppet said, "We can't move first. Let John Ba and the others move." To be careful, the first pill puppet said to John Ba and the Dark Emperor, "You two enter the Three-Stone Cave and tell Venerable Bali about the situation here. Tell him to come out and save us." You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.